Now there should be sound on the stream, and there is. All right. So
good. So the radio audience heard me properly blame you.
They heard you say that one dirty word you're not supposed to say.
Yeah, we all know that. But the stream hasn't heard unless the dirty word is Rob Brown is my friend, because I mean obviously he's not, because he left me out there for 3 hours and probably laughing the whole time. You guys probably all, it was probably all a big thing. Haha, Lonzo's left out there 3 hours. We're in here on the lawn. We're having a good time. Haha, he's still out there showing my texts around everybody. Look at that crowd. He just showed you a text of 1,000 people in front of him. Haha, we're in here. He's not in here. He missed all of Switchfoot, which one of the main reasons why he was there. Got to hear him while he stood in line, but he didn't get to see him. Haha, we're in here. He's not.
Your ability to simultaneously make yourself the victim and me the villain in one sentence is beyond impressive. How are you painting me to be this Disney villain, this Gaston of this story, when I could not have known what was happening with you in that line? I didn't know.
I think here's the thing, and I think we're all seeing it. We're all hearing it. There's no remorse there. There's no oh, I feel bad about that. There is a laugh behind his speech, and you can hear it. So this was all perpetrated by Rob Brown and his group of 12 to make me suffer. And that's fine.
Oh, it was like 16 because also P1 April found us with her booth.
Yeah, but she's not in on this because she was already inside.
Oh wait, no,
yeah.
Why is it? Wait, why is she could have tweeted you and been like, "Where you at? You can come in with us." No. It's just me. I'm in a crowd of 19,000. I'm the only bad guy.
Dearly, but you're supposed to be my friend. So I mean,
you
are someone who knows a lot of the ailments that I have, and why that was so difficult for me, especially halfway through the 3 hour wait. But
I'm just the worst. What do you want?
And then there was a guy who jumped in front of the line probably 2 hours into it. Bald guy, if you're listening, you suck.
You suck.
And a younger man in front of me, probably in his mid-20s to early 30s, spoke out against said bald man. And the bald man turned around and said, "I don't care. I'm merging the lines." And so then
merging the lines.
So then the younger man is being calmed down by his wife. He's still outspoken, as are other people in the crowd. And he's talking about how he's going to go up and take this guy out. And so luckily I'm behind him, not in front. So
wait, were there lines to be merged, or was this just one jackass being a jackass?
No, guy just walked up and said, he considered himself a line, and he merged.
Okay,
he and the people he's with, they just merged. So that didn't calm down for like an hour. There was back and forth. There were mean looks. There was I can take that guy speech going on, and I was just waiting for that to happen. Then when we get up,
for the record, that guy should have caught hands.
So then an hour later, when we get up and find out that we didn't have to stand in that crowd the entire time, we could have just walked up and melded with the throng of people.
You gotta merge the lines.
Anyway, so we get up there, and I'm listening to the guys behind me. It's like, yeah, I took 5 milliliters. Like, why'd you do that, man? You'll die. And then the other guy's like, "No, man, I've done that before." He said, "It's okay. It was European measurements."
So first off,
European measurements. I don't even know what that means. And it's like, okay. And then they started talking about all these drugs that they had taken. And then they were talking about how Switchfoot sucks. And it's just like, it's like, okay. And then partway through the line, as we're finally near, we can see the gates. Cameron loses service, which his Ticketmaster is on his service, which a lot of people did. And he's like, 5 more minutes, probably we're going to be up there, and I can't get to the tickets. I'm like, dude, it's okay. We'll just go home. I mean, it's not your fault if we can't get them up. To the tickets, they ain't going to let us in. And there's other people in the line holding their phone up above the crowd. And at first I thought, okay, they're taking pictures. No, they were trying to find service. And finally I was like, Cameron, turn your phone off, turn it back on, see if it works. And it worked. I was like, keep your finger on the phone. Do not let it go dark again, which he did. And so we were good. Another guy walked up who I don't think was from around here, had a Jersey accent, pretty sure. And he's like, "I've shut mine down 3 times. I can't get it. And I've been standing near the front of the line. And I can't go in."
All right. So
And then you get in the venue. No, I'm not done yet.
Oh, so, there's more. Wow.
So in the venue, after we wade through the throngs of people, I don't think definitely the venue was not prepared for that amount of people.
Oh, yeah, it was packed.
They were not prepared for that amount of people. And so when you meander through because we were late getting in, meander through the lawn seats to get down to where our seats were. Lots of, hey, Lonzo. It's like, hey, man, everybody knows me. It's weird.
The price of fame.
I better not act up. Anyway, so like jumping in front of people in line, because, I mean, that would be acting up.
Merging the lines.
Yeah. Or doing a Rob Brown and just going up, hey, do you know who I am, and walking in. So
no. Do not put the
I think we all know.
No, girl. No.
I think we all know.
No, that ain't what happened. What happened is I went to the outside gate and we just strolled in. That's why I'm so confused by all how this is my fault.
I even sent you a picture of all the people in front of me. Anyway, so it didn't go through because of service. It may have gone through by now.
I still have not gotten it for the record.
Yeah. All right. I'll send it again here in a minute. So then we sit down. There's an old guy, as Cameron dubbed him, Fat Willie Nelson, who was sitting next to us, who just decided to fire one up. Right. So everything that I've heard about rock and roll crowds, absolutely true. So he's sitting there smoking a joint right in the middle of the thing.
Allegedly.
Oh, no, there's no allegedly. There's no allegedly. And then behind us, a guy starts to fight with a guy who's in handicap seats and says, I'm going to call security. And then the handicap seat guy said, okay, I'm calling security. So they called security over there.
Security off.
There was which was an old man who would have got his butt beat. And so they're fighting back and not fighting. They're arguing back and forth. And it sounds like it's about to come to fisticuffs behind me. And I've seen enough stadium fights to know that that's going to spill over to me. And so I have to turn around and make sure that we're good and can get out of the way, or have to participate in a fracas, whatever. And then that dude disappeared. And the security came over a couple other times, talked to dude in handicap seats who was very loud. This is right before everything started. And so the band was good. The one band I got to see was good, except for there were some missed notes and things like that. But I'm sure you probably didn't notice. I was a little disappointed in Tremonti. He missed some things a couple times, and I think maybe his hands were just sweaty because, as Scott Stapp pointed out, it's very hot.
It was very hot.
It was very hot, and I was worried about him collapsing. At one point, he starts singing, and his in-ear monitors must have been working good because he didn't realize that his voice wasn't working. And then finally, they turned his voice up. It was right at the beginning of the song. I forget which song. You probably didn't notice that either, but it definitely happened. The music was great. The band was good. The one band, Switchfoot, sounded good too, even though I didn't get to see him. You did, because you didn't. You dissed me, and I didn't get in to see him. But the overall experience is pretty much exactly what I expected, and why I'll never go to another rock concert. Especially one that Rob's there at.
Wow. I guess that's what I get for, quote, dissing a grandpa, end quote.
Well, no one's surprised with your ageism. I mean, you think with our personal connection you could get past that, but
what did you want me to do? I don't run the place.
Hey, we're here. Let's meet up before we go in.
You had been there for 40 minutes before me. I assumed you were in. I did not know you weren't in until I was in. That's why I text you when I'm in. I'm like, where are you at? You're like, I'm still in line. It's like, how the hell was I supposed to know that? You beat me here by 40 minutes. I should not be in before you. That's not on me.
By like an hour and 40 minutes.
Whatever. Probably. You beat me by the whole day.
Your story's changing already. So, I mean, listen, it's partially your fault. A lot of it's your fault. Not all of it, but most of it. And then the rest of it was exactly what I expected.
Well, as apparently I have not committed a heel turn. My
aunt, who my pastor, who kept me away from these things because she said these things would happen, was absolutely right.
What bad happened? Nothing bad happened to you. You came out just fine.
I told you an entire story.
Outside of wait, no. Wait, no. Outside of waiting in a line, nothing bad happened to you. You were fine.
Drug deal behind me, fights all around me. The fact that when we left.
You said almost fights. You didn't say anybody was throwing fisticuffs.
Yeah, you're right. I don't, if I go to a Christian concert, I don't get that, okay? If I go to Comic-Con, I don't get that, okay? I don't have to worry about that. As we left, some guy left ahead of us. Oh yeah, my car almost got stuck, which I knew was about to happen when they parked me in the grass. And it did get stuck, but I got it out because I'm skilled. But I almost didn't. And then the drunk guy in front of us, weaving all over the road and trying to find his exit and pleading, please don't go to our exit, which he did. And then it's like, please go to McDonald's. Please have the munchies or something. Go to McDonald's. And he went to McDonald's, and then we were safe. There's just so many things that happened. And this is not an old man complaints, which I'm sure Rob was about. But when he does, it will prove his ageism. So, of course, he's not going to fall into that trap. Creed still has it. I will say
Creed
that.
Still got it.
They still got it.
That's true. I did all of the rest of it aside. All stuff, nothing I could have done. That was awesome. Can't wait. I did it again last night in Charlotte. Last night I did go see it as like a musician, not as a 2003 frat boy like I did on Tuesday night. Had a great damn time both times. Creed's awesome. They rocked. By the way, if they're like on the tour bus right now, like getting out of town, Scott Stapp, Tremonti, Brian Marshall, Chattahoochee High School. Shout out. Did I tell you I went to school with their bassist, Brian Marshall? I don't know if I mentioned that or not. Good dude. Good guy. Call into the show, 844-326-3663. We'll talk Creed. All right, when we come back here in just a minute, we'll put all of that in the back, that secular rock and roll show that was. And when we come back, let's talk some ACC football. I need your help. I got to turn in my ACC preseason ballot today, so I'm going to let you guys help me fill it out. That's coming up next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Sports Talk, real sports fans.
The Fan Upstate
is the sports voice of you, the Upstate fan. Call 844-FAN-PHONE. That's 844-326-3663. The Fan Upstate.
I just read an article about a lady who is making over $100,000 a year just selling pictures of her feet on the internet. I'm going to go ahead and say right now, if my fiance can sell feet pics and make that much money per year, I'll help her set the lighting.
I was waiting for you to say, I'm going to tell you right now, feet not that sexy.
No, I'm not a feet guy at all. I don't get it. I've never
I think we all know that.
Yeah, not a like everybody's got their own thing, and I'm here for it. Like you do whatever, however you get your jollies, get your jollies. I'm not here to judge. Like, do your thing. You have my support. I will never understand people who find feet sexy. Nope, don't get it. I've told my fiance, you want to know how you can tell that I love you. I will rub your feet. No one else, I won't even rub my own feet. I'll rub yours. That's the definition of love.
Can we find out if Rex Ryan bought all her pictures?
Are you ready? Yeah.
I'm glad you get it, Lester. It's also why if there's an opportunity for he and I to go somewhere together and it's not something where I know where I'm going, I won't go anymore because he just leaves me.
I didn't leave you. You were there an hour before me. You should not have been outside when I was inside.
I'm just saying I would never do that to you.
You beat me
I don't think there's anyone else in the audience.
There's
no one in the audience, especially people watching right now, who would do that to me. Just you.
Yeah, well, you don't want to. I'm the worst person you know.
No, but you're down there right now. All I could think of as I'm standing in line, why didn't Rob get me when he got here?
You should have been in already.
But I wasn't. If I'd have been, you know what? Yeah, I would have been if I'd have been with you. Because apparently there's a trick. And Rob tells me about the trick.
There's not a trick. I went to the left. I even texted you and I said
left. Yeah, it's basically a trick how to get in, which, experienced concert.
Yes, the trick is an experienced concert goers go to the gate with the fewest people at it. That's the massive trick.
Yeah, it wasn't open when I was there. And so I had to go back to the back of the line, according to everybody.
Yeah, well.
And then I went back to the back of the line. And then I guess maybe there was a crowd swell that went, hey, look, the gates are open.
If everybody said jump off a bridge, would you do it?
At that point, no, but I am a
follower,
a kind of known celebrity, but I'm not a look at me, do you know who I am guy like you. So, there's that. Come back, by the way.
on the Fan Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate live from Charlotte, North Carolina. That's where you can find us as ACC Media Days wrapping up this afternoon. It is Clemson Day. We will have the coaching staff and some of the players from Los Tigres here this afternoon. I will tell you that I am scheduled as it stands right now at 1:30 this afternoon to sit down with Cade Klubnik, the starting quarterback of the Clemson Tigers. And then right after we are done with Cade, we will have Dabo Swinney sitting right over there. We'll talk to Dabo for a few minutes as well. One-on-one, we'll take those interviews. I will forward them over to Cole Bryson and Diesel. They will air those for you on Wire to Wire with Cole and Diesel this afternoon. And then Lonzo and I, who are off tomorrow, will return on Monday, and we will replay those interviews and give you our thoughts on those. So make sure you stay paying attention to the Fan Upstate on social media, at the Fan Upstate on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, and the same at the Rob Brown Show on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter. So you can be up to date, well, up to the minute with what's going on here at ACC Media Days in Charlotte, North Carolina. So we have talked quite a bit of ACC ball so far this week. We will continue to do so. One of the things that I have got to do today, as we wrap up the show, one of the things that I have to do today is I have got to submit our preseason awards ballot for the ACC media. All credentialed media here at this event have been asked to submit a preseason awards ballot. This awards ballot is going to allow us to pick the best quarterback in the conference this year. It is going to allow us to pick the best running back. It is going to put together the all-ACC team. Then we will select for the ACC's Player of the Year. We will also select our predicted order of finish in the conference. And I will tell you, and this is going to sound sarcastic. It is not meant to be. I consider this a tremendous responsibility. Like, I really do. This is not something that I take lightly. It's like every year you get one of the media days and you'll have something where it's like, the media has voted the predicted order to finish in the Southeastern Conference, and Vanderbilt received a vote. I'm like, all right. Like, to me, I think that guy should have his media credentials revoked. Honestly, like, I think that is, even if you're a Vandy guy covering that for Vandy, I think you should have your credentials revoked. To me, there's something that is, I don't know. It is a responsibility that I hold in order to do this. So, with that being said, what is your predicted order of finish in the Atlantic Coast Conference? And let's start with the top. Who's winning this thing? We have gone back and forth all week long and discussed the contenders. I think the contenders right now, great one, are Florida State, are Clemson, are Miami as the top three. I think there is a second tier of contenders, teams that they'll need some breaks and they'll need some other teams to have some breaks go against them. I think that second tier of contenders is Louisville. Oh, that wasn't good enough. Louisville. You need Louisville in there. I would say SMU is in there. I would say NC State is in there. And I would probably put Virginia Tech into that second tier. Those are teams that I think, again, they'll need some breaks and they'll need the top to beat itself up a little bit. But outside of that, they're going to be fighting for second.
All right, how do you get into Rob Brown's top tier? What kind of team gets into Rob Brown's top tier?
I'm going to, first off, to me, depth is wildly important. I'm looking at teams that have cultivated a larger pool of talent, and this is one of the reasons that I think that, and let's start with looking at Clemson in that regard. I think Clemson the last couple of years has, especially offensively, had a bit of an issue with depth, right? It's like anytime one guy steps up, say at wide receiver, and defenses start to cater to that guy, there's not that next guy. It doesn't feel like that next guy is there. I think Clemson has done a better job. I think, as we've mentioned, that running back room is going to be depth this year. Is going to have depth this year. I think it is going to be good. I think defensively, this team should be very good. But, and you and I have joked for the last couple of years, great one, that, 2 years ago, maybe last year, I don't remember. There was a particular radio show host that was going on and on about how this defense is going to be legendary, historic. This is going to be a defense we're talking about for decades from now. And it was good, but it wasn't good enough. Like, it was good. I think this year, and I'm not ready to say it's going to be legendary, it's going to be historic, it's going to be something we've never seen before, but I do think it is going to be very, very good. So I'm willing to put Clemson in there because of the defensive depth that they have generated. And second off, I just got to be able to trust you on offense, right? I got to be able to trust you on offense. I know that I can trust Phil Maffa. If nothing else, I know this year, unless something changed this offseason, and I've got no reason to believe that it did, I am comfortable saying I trust Clemson's ability to run the ball this year. And I think we saw that out of Maffa in that bowl game last year. I think we saw it down the stretch. We have seen spots when Will Shipley had to check out of the game for whatever reason. We have seen spots where Phil Maffa went in and kind of played the role of workhorse. I've got to have that. And I think you do get that out of the big man, out of the backfield. I think in tough spots, and this might be, I don't want to say this is dramatically different from the last couple of years, but I do think it's something that Clemson can lean on this year, Lonzo. I think I can trust them to run the ball in tough situations. In the last couple of years, as much as I love Will Shipley, and I do because he was an all-around playmaker, an all-around yardage generator, there were spots where if I needed a yard and a half, 2 yards, and they were up against a top-flight defense, a Florida State from last year, those teams could start to stack the box, and I don't think Clemson was going to be able to force the issue. I think they can with Phil Maffa and an offensive line that's got a little bit more XP behind it this year. I feel like I can, regardless of how you feel about Cade Klubnik, I feel like I can trust the gut-check Clemson offense in the most high-pressure games this year, and I don't feel like I did not feel like that last year.
For years on this radio station, I have said that Clemson was the ACC. They're not that. They haven't been for the last couple years. I think it's Florida State, and I'm still trying to figure out, and it can happen, I suppose, how Clemson made that step back to where they used to be this offseason, because they weren't there last year. They weren't there the year before. Has the rest of the ACC went down, or has Clemson found their form? I guess we'll see. But I don't believe till I see how they compete with Georgia, till I see what they do against other teams in the ACC. And right now, they've had too many losses the last couple of years. And until they prove me wrong, I don't believe in them the way you do. I do believe in the defense. I agree. I don't believe in the offense.
I think the defense is going to be legitimate. Are they going to be historic? I'm not ready to say that. Are they going to be one we're talking about for X amount of years down the road? I'm not ready to say that. What I am ready to say is just on paper. On paper, alone, this defense should be able to slow down most teams that they come up against. I looked yesterday, and for those of you that watch the stream, I've got multiple different magazines that I'm looking through, and I've got the different previews, and obviously I've done my own as far as what I think and where. I think that I am going to go. I think I'm going to go here. Great one. I think I'm going to pick Florida State to win the conference as well. And that's question number one, is how are we ranking these teams in conference? I think I'm going to start with Florida State. Let's be real clear about one thing. If I'm wrong about this, and Florida State doesn't win the conference, it's due we all know they're reloading, right? Like Johnny Wilson's gone, Keon Coleman is gone, Trey Benson is gone, good chunk of their offensive line is gone. This is a team that Mike Norvell is going to show that he's either a portal wizard or he's not, right? Like if you look at this team when they get going in the fall, if you look down and you look at some of the wide receivers that have come in and are trying to take over, and they do it and they're successful, Mike Norvell, I think, will change the paradigm of coaches looking at the portal. And how ironic would it be for Florida State to take the ACC's crown off of Dabo and put it on Mike Norvell for being the anti-Dabo, right? Like, Dabo's the only team not to use a portal player. Florida State is built on portal players right now. Nice sense of irony there. But I do think that Florida State has got talent that runs a little bit deeper than Clemson does, even with the portal players being a foundation. Let's keep talking ACC ball when we come back. We got a lot to get to today. Rob Brown, Lonzo, and you. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It's the Fan Upstate.
Listen on your phone. Download the Odyssey
Here's
app.
TMA. I got to go blow my nose because I got, like, it's hanging in there.
We'll turn the thing off.
Okay. Chuck Sanders, here's the Be right back, everybody. All right.
Well, April, I was there.
He was there.
I'm at the movie.
Not only do I have pictures, but enough people in the audience saw me between the two stations. And some posted about the fact that they saw me there. Like I'm some mythical being that never goes outside.
Somebody tweeted, I saw Lonzo, and he said it's more rare than a Bigfoot sighting.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Basing the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023, this looks for all state reported savings vary.
Total Wireless.
Cameron was reluctant to wear the Smurf blue ponchos that we bought for $5 at Dollar Store, and I'm like, listen, dude, I don't care. Okay, so I'm out there at the beginning of the 3 hours dancing in the rain in a blue Smurf poncho.
No additional cost. Visit your local Total Wireless store today. Total Wireless, we're totally with you. Actual speeds may vary by location. For data management preferences, see TotalWireless.com.
From the Ingalls Market Studio, the Fan.
Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
From the Free Odyssey, now the Infinity Sports Network. Your guide to the gridiron, the maestro of the matchups and the keeper of all things cool in the sports world. This is the Rob Brown Show. Lonzo's here too. This is the Fan Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show continues. It's the Fan Upstate, live from Charlotte, North Carolina, the home of this year's ACC Media Days. We are wrapping up our coverage today. I will be here through the remainder of the morning and into the early afternoon as the Clemson Tigers will wrap up ACC Media Days today. We will have Cade Klubnik on the show this afternoon. We will have not on the show. We will have an interview with Cade Klubnik and Dabo Sweeney this afternoon. We will then bring you those interviews this afternoon on Wire to Wire. Lonzo and I are off tomorrow. We'll return to you on Monday, and we will have a replay of those interviews Monday morning as well with our thoughts and whatnot. We're talking about the ACC, and we're putting them in order right now. There is one team that I think is going to be very, very interesting, and that's the Miami Hurricanes this year. I'm actually really intrigued by Miami. By the way, I do want to tell you the phone lines are open at 844-326-3663, 844-FANFONE, and the text line is now up at 71307, 71307. That is the renewal by Anderson to the Carolinas fan phone, 844-326-3663, and the text line is 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. We have got Spartanburg J, who has texted the show, said, Rob, your ACC ranking predictions. Number 1, Clemson. Number 2, FSU. Number 3, Miami. Number 4, NC State. Then everyone else. Texter said, Rob, you should have been waiting to meet Lonzo with arms wide open. See, because that's a Creed song. That's a Creed song. I would, but Lonzo doesn't like to hug.
Yeah, but I've actually hugged Rob before.
He has. One time. It happened.
And if he would have stopped me from having to wait for 3 hours, I probably would have hugged him then. But, we'll never know, will we?
Texter said, typical ice snob behavior. Okay. All right. Listen, just because I know that crushed ice is the best ice and any other ice is inferior ice doesn't make me an ice snob. It means I have an ice preference, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Texter said, Rob, you hung Lonzo out to dry, and that's the bottom line. It's not. I didn't hang him out to dry. None of us were dry. That was the problem. We were all out in the rain together. I just happened to pick the right line. I don't know what to tell you. That's not on my fault. I didn't do that, all right? I will say this. Texter said, Rob, how was Creed? There is only one thing Lonzo and I agree with, which was Creed was awesome, all right? Creed was awesome. It was awesome. It was everything you wanted it to be. So nice. I saw him twice because I saw him again last night in Charlotte, and it was just as good. Same set list.
Which
just
performance
as good.
was better?
I'm going to need you to define what you mean by better. In terms of, because I'll be real, Tuesday night was just the boys were vibing. Like it was just a throwback to fraternity boy Rob, and it was spectacular. Last night, I went with the drummer from my band who lives up in Charlotte now, and it was a much more of like an analytical listen to Creed. And I thought they were great, man. Like there were
which was my listen to Creed also. I mean, that's what it makes you miss being on the stage, seeing how much fun they're having.
Sure. I will say this. They are either some of the best actors in the world, or you can tell that they are thrilled to be back in the game. It's one of the two. They are either some of the best actors ever assembled, or they were vibing. And it was
I am
great.
still trying to. I wonder what Scott Stapp was going to say that would have got him in trouble. He said, "I'm going to stop right now before I say something that gets me in trouble." And I'm wondering what he was going to say.
And last night he did a. There was one spot last night before they played a song where it got interesting because he said there were. I'll tell you what, the amphitheater last night, PNC Pavilion, just north of Charlotte, is freaking huge. Have you been there before? Have you seen a show there yet?
No, and I probably will never after last week. Yeah,
it's huge. He claimed there were over 19,000 people there last night, and I believe it. It was insane. I had no idea how big it was. But he said, there's 19,000 of us here all together, all on the same page, and I think we could probably, this group, teach a thing or two to the folks that are having a political rally not too far from here. And you could tell that despite the message he was trying to send, he split the crowd pretty much right down the middle in that moment. And there was a small exodus of people who walked out of the show when he said that. Fine by me. I got closer to the stage. And I think that was probably what he was going to do, and realized there's a way to say, let's build on this moment, on this unity, on what brings us together. But when you mentioned a particular political rally that happened to be happening the same night a few miles away and make it sound as if that's the problem, my bet it was probably going down that particular path.
Probably wouldn't have went over as well here as it did.
Bingo.
Yes.
That's why I think he did what he did and said what he said. Texas said, Rob, name drop one more time the basis of Creed that you went to school with. That's from Scotty and BMW. Don't mind if I do, Scotty. Brian Marshall from Creed. Their basis, went to high school with him. Great guy.
Well, Scotty, you didn't receive a text like I did while they were featuring him on the screens at the amphitheater.
Sure did. I texted Lonzo, and I think Lonzo was mad at me at that point because I got the one-word passive-aggressive response text at that point. So I was like, oh, he's mad at me.
No, that was a joke.
Also got a text, Lonzo, that says, and I quote, hello, ? So that's fun. Hello. Good morning. Thanks for texting.
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
If it was early enough, it might have been when the sound wasn't on stream.
That's fair. All right. So we're talking ACC ball here. There is one team.
No love for SMU. I'm noticing that. So no one respects the fact of what they did last year in another conference.
So I have them in that second tier, right? And I think by the end of this year, some of y'all are going to know the name Preston Stone.
So, by the way, SMU has an easier path to the ACC championship than Clemson does.
I agree. And Florida State, for the record. Of those three, I think SMU has the easiest path to the ACC title game. We talked about this a couple of days ago. Lonzo pointed that out, and I'm like, let me go check that out. And he is spot on accurate. SMU has arguably the easiest path to get there. They're opening for our Nevada, Houston Christian, BYU, TCU. Obviously, TCU is not the team that was there a few years ago. BYU has got some dogs. They got some athletes. That won't be an easy game, but it is at home. Then they've got FSU, at Louisville, at Stanford, at Duke. If you've got to go on a 3-game road swing in your first year in the ACC, having two of those three be Stanford and Duke, I'll tell you right now, I'm interested in Louisville too. Louisville under Jeff Brom, I think, puts up some points this year. But I'm putting SMU into that second tier of ACC schools, like teams that can win it, but they will need some breaks. If SMU can snipe Florida State, remember FSU's got to go to Dallas, right? If SMU can snipe Florida State in, week 5, that team could be very interesting. Preston Stone, their quarterback, had the chance to meet him the other day. Preston Stone is going to finish this year, I think so, statistically, as the second, maybe third best quarterback in this conference. Grayson McCall is going to be up there. There's obviously questions about DJ Uiagalelei. Those are fair. There's questions about Cade Klubnik. Those are fair. But you've got Cam Ward, who I think is going to be up there at Miami. Grayson McCall is going to be up there from NC State. And Preston Stone. And I think those are the 3 best quarterbacks in this conference. So I think it's fair to say this show is giving love to SMU. I will say I got some questions about their offensive line. I got some questions about their ability to block for Preston Stone. They do have a couple of pretty good players in Justin Osborne and Logan Parr, a couple of seniors that are going to be anchoring the the right side of that line to kind of give Grayson McCall time. I am intrigued by SMU. I just think that talent-wise, starting 11 on both sides of the football, I think they're just a little bit behind Clemson and Florida State. I think they're going to have, honestly, of the three schools we have talked about here in this segment, I think Preston McCall is going to be the best out of him, Cade Klubnik, and DJ Uiagalelei. I think by the end of this year, y'all are going to know that name. But there is one more quarterback. I mentioned him just a second ago, and that is why the team he plays for, I am so very interested in, and that's Cam Ward and the Miami Hurricanes. This offense specifically, this offense has I'm going to use our favorite term of measurement here, buttload of skill positions, man. Like, they are good. In fact, I was going down and looking at a couple of the assembled all ACC teams that have been put around by different media members. And there's Miami players everywhere. You've got Damian Martinez, who is favored to be the best running back in the Atlantic Coast Conference. You've got Cam Ward. Cam Ward is being discussed as probably the preseason ACC Quarterback of the Year nominee. Remember that young man transferring in to Miami. You've got Xavier Restrepo, the wide receiver. That dude is a dog. You've got Jacoby George, the wide receiver. Miami's probably going 3 deep in terms of wide receivers that can make a difference. And, oh, by the way, when you look at the media-selected all-ACC offensive line, all 5 Hurricanes are on the first 3 teams, all right? First, second, and third team all-ACC, as I have discussed with the media here, and I expect you will see this when the all-ACC rankings from the media come out in the next couple of days after we're done voting on it. There are Miami guys everywhere, man. Like, this team's interesting. But the reason I find Miami such a compelling team to talk about is because I think at this point, Mario Cristobal's legacy is a dude who is constantly surrounded by talent that he cannot maximize. Like, that's just his legacy at this point. He has got he's done it at Miami every year he's been there, right? And one of the reasons that I'm so hesitant about it is I am not over 2 seasons ago with Miami. Remember when Cristobal first showed up at Miami, that Miami team was supposed to be the team that brought them back to their previous glory, right? This is why I have Miami listed in my group of teams that I'm absolutely sick of hearing them say, we're back. We're back. We're back. We're back. The U is back. The U is back. Like maybe. But it's been this ever since Cristobal showed up. And I go back 3 seasons ago to a Miami team that lost, 4 of their first 6 or something like that, despite the fact that they were back. They dropped 4 out of 6, and that team quit. And Lonzo will tell you, I despise talking in intangibles. I don't like talking about stuff that I can't quantify and qualify, but I also understand human beings are emotional, and we react to things emotionally, and we gauge our behavior based on emotion. And so to say there's no place for it in the conversation is wrong. I go back to that first Miami team under Mario Cristobal, a team that was supposed to be back. And that team quit. And you could see that team quit. That team laid down. They just went through the motions to wrap up the season as soon as they got bounced from contention. And I don't know how I can get behind somebody that lets that happen to a team, right? I don't know how I can get. This wasn't a matter of they had a bunch of NFL first-round draft picks that quit so they could go get ready for the NFL. They didn't. They were out there. They just stopped playing. They just laid it down. And yes, 3 years later, that's still kind of points in the direction of how I feel and why I feel about Miami the way I feel. Lonzo, if I was to tell you that every team in the Atlantic Coast Conference was going to perform at 100% efficiency, Miami would win this conference. Hands down. If I could tell you for a fact that every team was going to play 100% to their skill level, the Miami Hurricanes would win this conference. And yet nobody believes that they will. That's where that team is right now, which is why you're not hearing them mentioned. Now, speaking of 100% effectiveness, a guy who operates at peak levels every time, it's Lonzo with a sports flash.
It's not going to work. I'm still mad. The Atlanta Braves have lost 4 consecutive games after a 9-4 loss to Cincinnati yesterday. Atlanta's offense did record double-digit hits, but Alan Winans was shelled for 7 runs in just 2.2 innings of work, including a pair of Reds home runs. Atlanta saw the second of a doubleheader rained out. That will be made up later. And faced the Mets in New York today. The Braves are now 9 behind Philadelphia, and Rob can now absolutely panic. Lamar Jackson missed 2 days of training camp and lasted just 1 hour at his first practice, according to reports. Jackson left the field moving slowly, and the team said he was ill, but expect Jackson to recover quickly after the team takes today off. Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Dees will get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, a whole lot of fun, and it's all Wire to Wire.
Upton Mid-Interstate traffic starting to look a little cruddy on the roadways. We got problems both sides along I-85, right around Highway 101 and Main Street, both sides of the roadway, at least 1 lane block. So we're seeing at least maybe 10, 15-minute delay there. It's really stacking up rapidly. I-85 at Gossett Road, that right lane that was blocked, it looks like everything's off to the shoulder there. Don't see much of a backup there. For the News Talk 98.9 WRD Traffic Center, I'm Lori Houston on the Fan, upstate.
Experience a night of indulgence with bourbon and bacon. It's an evening of sampling bourbons and whiskeys from local, new, and well-known distilleries while feasting on bacon-themed bites from top restaurants in our area. A night of pure indulgence with mounds of bacon, flowing rivers of bourbon, allocated bourbon flavors to tantalize your taste buds. The 5th Annual Bourbon and Bacon Fest at the Foundry at Judson Mill in downtown Greenville. Friday, September 27th. Bourbon, bacon, cigars, and sweets. VIP, general admission, and designated driver tickets are on sale now. Your participation directly supports Carolina Adaptive Golf, benefiting veterans and individuals overcoming physical or mental trauma. Don't miss out on the Bourbon and Bacon Fest. Friday, September 27th at Judson Mill, downtown Greenville. Secure your tickets now by texting BACON to 72341 or visit bourbonandbaconfest.com. That's bourbonandbaconfest.com. Text and date rates.
Spring is here, and the best upstate deal on golf is on sale now. The 2024 Upstate Golf Card gets you a round of golf at 7 premier upstate courses, and it's only $80. Order at theupstategolfcard.com. 7 rounds of golf for only $80. Upstategolfcard.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Granger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
A Gain Scent Beat story. Jim was at the laundromat when he heard his ear said, "We're rocket, senor," but his nose said, "Hey, freshest scent ever." Following his nose, Jim found the man pouring a bottle of Gain Scent Beads into the washer. With scent, with freshness, Jim blurted, "Sir, your scent Morocco."
So I'm reading through
Actually, Jim, most noses call them Gain
Lindy's
Scent Beads.
preseason write-ups of all the ACC teams. And for Pitt, when it says bad news, Jordan Addison and Kenny Pickett aren't walking through that door.
What they do, they retire. They suck it up like the rest of us who work for a living and do the job. He's going to get himself fired or Clemson relegated to mediocrity. It doesn't matter what you want. It doesn't matter what's easy. It doesn't matter what's pleasant. It doesn't matter if your dad was winning what happened 5 or 10 years ago. The game is back to everybody. He's a dynasty.
Brighter than you.
Brighter than you.
Weekdays 10 to noon on the Fan Upstate. Your morning jolt of sports. It's the Rob Brown Show.
With Florida State, the narrative is they lost too much talent to be good. The counter to the narrative is, yeah, but Mike Norvell has built 3 consecutive real good rosters out of the portal. How many people last year called Florida State to be a playoff team? None of us did. None of us did.
Shut up, Lonzo. Who asked you? Don't hit snooze. Play the Rob Brown Show. Now, morning 6 to 10 on The Fan.
The Fan Upstate.
When it comes to the best sports talk anywhere, get yourself going, man. Listen to The Fan Upstate on Odyssey no matter where you are. In the car, at home, at work. Download the free Odyssey app on your phone. Search The Fan Upstate, and you're in the game. Hey, now we roll. The Fan Upstate.
Upstate. WORD Spartanburg.
WFPC HD3, the official sports voice of the Upstate Fan. And Odyssey Sports Nation.
Man, check this out.
You're on official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being green. Yeah.
For the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show. Only on
The Fan Upstate.
Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show is underway. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome in. The 7 o'clock hour underway. I am Rob Brown, the great one Lonzo, back in the palatial Fan Upstate Studios. We are live in Charlotte, North Carolina, the home of the 2024 ACC football kickoff, a.k.a. ACC Media Days, taking place right here in Hilton Uptown. Great to have you guys with us as we conclude our coverage courtesy of our good friends at Ingles Supermarkets. Ingles, the sponsor of this year's voyage up here to Charlotte, and we are very, very appreciative of Ingles for jumping on board and making this thing happen. When football season rolls around, by the way, NFL preseason kicks off in a week from tonight is a thing that's happening. When you're starting your tailgating season, your tailgate HQ is Ingles. And do not forget, ladies and gentlemen, the most important tailgating accessory of all. Grab that cookies cake from Ingles. Grab that cookie cake, untouchable. Cookie cake is, I got to tell you, if we're power ranking cakes, and I know it's not a cake because it's a cookie, but we've all accepted that even though it is a cookie, it is a cake. If I show up to your tailgate and you don't have a cookie cake, you're not getting any better than a B- as a tailgate. You a cookie cake guy, Lonzo? I'm a cookie cake fiend.
Yes, we've had this discussion on the show before.
I understand, but like I'm not going to be like Lonzo when I had this discussion in the past. I'm giving you the opportunity. We got to tee off on the greatness of an Ingles cookie cake.
No, listen, if you're going to get cookie cake, you need to go to Ingles.
Yeah.
That's where the best cookie cakes are.
That's a fact. That's not even me blowing smoke because they're a wonderful sponsor, and they are. I'm just telling you straight up, cookie cakes are the jam, and Ingles cookie cakes take the cake.
I will say, we invoke Mark Ryan's name many times just because it's fun. But one thing that he got right every single week was how good the cookie cake was at Ingles.
Couldn't disagree more, or could not disagree at all. Could not agree more. Both of those things. The cookie cake is untouchable, and as far as cookie cakes go, Ingles has got, and I don't know what it is because it's like it's that cookie cake that when you cut it into the piece and you pick that piece up, it doesn't like fall apart on you. It stays in cookie cake piece form. But then when you bite into that piece of cookie cake, man, it just melts. It just melts. That's what it should do.
You haven't had breakfast yet, have you?
I have not. Not only have I not, but I'm looking the little cafes right over there. Lonzo, can I tell you what my 2 favorite words in the English language are? Not those 2, the other 2. My other 2 favorite words in the English language, Lonzo, omelet station. Omelet station.
As long as you hit it early, because I'm concerned about the omelet station, like an hour in.
Oh, no,
but
man.
if you're getting it when they just set it up and everything's fresh, yeah, for sure.
I am currently watching just over there and on the other side of the little post right there. I'm watching that, and they even have the omelet chef in a big hat, so you know you can trust him.
There you go.
If the chef doesn't have a big hat, is he even a chef, right? I don't know why you have to have the big hat. I mean, I do. We had this conversation on the show once too, and we were informed one time by a restaurateur that the purpose of the big hat for the chef is so that everybody else in the kitchen can find him, can identify him, right? That's why he's the only one that's allowed to wear it, so that when the sous chef has a question for the yes chef and he turns his head, he can easily find the head chef because he's the guy in the big hat. They gave my man the big hat because there's no one more important in that room over there than the guy that's at the omelet station. And I will tell you, during the break there, I ran over to the restroom, all right, to sort myself out, powder my nose a little bit. And when I walked by Zoe, I was watching him grate fresh cheddar cheese for the omelet station.
Nice.
That's untouchable. That you're telling me I'm getting cheese that you're just shredding it for the omelets? This is just shredded cheese? Yeah. Omelet stations, absolutely untouchable. Untouchable. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 7:05 in the morning. It is just about that time. 54 minutes and some change from now. You got to clock in. You got to lock in. Respond to those passive-aggressive emails from the boss, and then you're going to walk down that hallway. You're going to head down to the water cooler, and who knows what assortment of characters you're going to meet down there. But one thing is for certain. One thing is for sure, and that thing is you're going to talk sports. You're going to talk sports. And if you're going to talk sports at work, you need to know what's going on. And if you need to know what's going on, I have good news. We do this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar? The almanac of the absurd and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworker saying,
"These are going to hurt you, sir."
Take their first bathroom break. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
Lonzo clicked that button with a purpose, with intent.
I don't,
I
you're
felt
acting like you feel
the
guilty
vibe.
or something.
I
don't
don't
know
feel guilty at
why.
all. I didn't do anything wrong. All right? I didn't do anything wrong. Don't you gaslight me into thinking I'm the bad guy here. I'm not. I did nothing wrong.
Hey, down the hall, I was called a gaslighter. I don't even know what that means.
That's exactly what a gaslighter would say. All right. It's your water cooler cheat sheet, top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office and start talking sports today. Let us dive right in with item number 1. I have good news and I have bad news, ladies and gentlemen. Would you like to start with the good news or would you like to start with the bad news? The bad news? Okay, I agree. Here's the bad news. Looks like Inside the NBA on TNT may be going away after all. We got a little excited, little positive earlier in the week because I thought Ernie and Kenny and Chuck and Shaq Daddy, a.k.a. the Big Aristotle, were going to be hanging around for another few years because Warner Brothers Discovery, the owners of TNT, said that they were going to match a part of the NBA's media rights deal that was signed by Amazon Prime Video. And the plan was to match that deal in a way that TNT would still be able to carry games on Thursday nights and on other nights in a streaming capacity, but it would also open the door for the, I don't want to say return because it hasn't technically gone away yet, but the maintenance of Inside the NBA on TNT. And I will say this, Zoe, sincere question. With the exception of, and I think even some people have fallen off on this, but with the exception of College Game Day on Saturday mornings, is there another sports television show that we go to bat for as hard as we go to bat for Inside the NBA on TNT? I can't think of one.
Well, I know it's not Big Noon South because there's a guy on there that you would never go to bat for. So, yeah, you're probably right.
And you know, like maybe in Ohio, maybe in Michigan, they would go to bat for Big Noon Kickoff. But I think Inside the NBA, I don't think it's the best television studio show in sports right now. I know for a fact that it is. I dare you to put anything up against Inside the NBA on TNT. But what I will say is that show's beloved. It is beloved, and it is very sad that it is likely going away. And it's likely going away because the NBA rejected the match deal that was offered by Warner Brothers Discover in order to take Amazon Prime Video off of the deal and replace it with Warner Brothers Discovery / TNT. The NBA signed its 11-year media rights deal with Disney, NBC, and Amazon Prime Video yesterday after saying it was not accepting Warner Brothers Discovery's $1.8 billion per year offer to continue their longtime relationship with the league. The media rights deals were approved by the league's board of governors last week and will bring the league roughly $76 billion with a B dollars over the next 11 years. Warner Brothers Discovery had 5 days to match a part of those deals, said it was exercising their right to do so earlier this week, but the NBA yesterday said it was not considered a true match, which means that this upcoming season, the 24-25 season, will be the last for TNT after nearly 40 years as a home of NBA basketball. However, Warner Brothers Discovery said we will not go quietly into that dark night. They are going to fight. They said they would take, quote, appropriate action, end quote, after saying they believe the NBA was required to accept their offer. We will find out. But if nothing is done about it, it could very well mean that Inside the NBA on TNT, as we know it, may be going away. That wasn't the only deal that got signed yesterday. The WNBA also announced a new 11-year media rights deal featuring partnerships with Disney, NBC, and Amazon Prime Video. Their deal over 11 years, valued at $2.2 billion, or about $200 million per year, but future agreements are still on the table. There is room to sign more broadcast partners down the line. The belief is that the overall media rights could end up being closer to $3 billion over that 11-year tenure. WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert said, quote, partnering with Disney, Amazon, NBCU marks a monumental chapter in WNBA history and clearly demonstrates the significant rise in value and the historic level of interest in women's basketball. The deal will see over 250 games, over 125 regular season games plus playoff games, including a minimum of 25 on Disney platforms, 50 on NBC, and 30 on Prime Video, with room for more to be picked up elsewhere. Disney will also distribute the first round playoff series this year, NBC and Prime distributing one each, while semifinal and final series will rotate between the platform. So a huge deal being signed by the WNBA yesterday as well. Let's get to item number 2. Tonight, the opening ceremonies of the 2024 Summer Olympic Games from Paris, France, but the games are already underway as the soccer and rugby tournaments kicked off this week, and they kicked off and the Americans got kicked in the bouteille. I believe in French, Lonzo, it's called Le Derrière, I think is how they say.
It sounds accurate, yes.
I think I'm not multilingual, but I'm pretty close. The Americans took a 3-0 whooping at the hands of the French yesterday. The French, of course, a powerhouse in football at every level. Now, keep in mind, these are U23 teams. Olympic Games require the use of under 23-year-old players with 2 exceptions per team. You get 2 veteran players. The rest must be U23 players. The Americans held the French scoreless for 61 minutes before Alexander Lacazette was able to knock through the first 4 French past U.S. keeper Patrick Schultz to make it 1-0. Michael Olise made a high-profile move from Crystal Palace to Bayern Munich, doubled the lead soon after goal number 1, and Loic Barret smashed home a header before full time. Thierry Henry, I should have put Thierry Henry's name in the sports flash too. Would you have called him Henry?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
I told you 3 years of French, dude. I mean, you know.
Thierry Henry's host side get the opening win and the full 3 points and a +3 goal differential. The Americans, I'm going to give them credit, played well for 60 minutes, but once that first goal found the back of the strings, it was all downhill from that. The Americans did have a chance from Jordi Mihailovic early in the matchup that hit the crossbar, and then the French were just full throttle and all afterburner the rest of the way. This is the United States' first Summer Olympic Games since 2008. They open in third place in Group A behind New Zealand, which beat Guinea 2-1 in the other Group A match of the day. The Americans will play Game 2 on Sunday against that New Zealand squad and now have their backs against the wall should they wish to escape from group play and into the knockout round. 3-0, France knocks off the United States and take the full 3 points. Let us go to item number 3. Tuesday on the show, I made a bold prediction about the Atlanta Braves and one that I'm going to stick with. Tuesday, I said that by next Tuesday, and we will check in to see if I was right or wrong. I said by next Tuesday, unless something chaotic was to happen, I thought the Atlanta Braves were going to end up in a spot where they would be giving away the number 1 overall wild card position in the National League. They did not help their cause last night as they dropped game number 4 in a row, this one at the hands of the Cincinnati Reds. Alan Winans went out there as the starter, gave up 7 earned runs in 2.2 innings of work, including a pair of dingers, 6 hits, 7 runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts for Winans, and it did not get any better the rest of the way. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know the Braves are hurt. I know they got a lot of players that are having to step in and play different spots. You had to go get Eddie Rosario, who got cut by the DC Nationals. Had a great debut with the Bravos, but hasn't really helped since then. He went 0 for 3 yesterday. You've had to go back to Laureano, who has stepped in different spots in the outfield. He was unable to get anything going yesterday. In fact, only 2 guys yesterday did anything at all. Sean Murphy, Orlando Arcia were both 2 for 4. 2 for 3 was Arcia. Matt Olson finally got back to a couple of hits. He went 2 for 5, but no RBIs because nobody ahead of him could get on. The Braves, in fairness, did collect 10 hits yesterday. And had they paired this offensive outing with a Max Fried or a Chris Sale or a Reynaldo Lopez type outing, maybe they'd give themselves a shot. But this is just kind of where we are at this point with this team. I don't think they've given up, as I heard Cole Bryson accuse them of. I just think they're in a bad spot right now. They did have, according to reports out of Atlanta, a players-only meeting. You know what that means, Lonzo, when teams have a players-only meeting.
Game over, man. Game over.
Yeah, things are not going well in the ATL. My dudes and my dudettes. The Braves dropped to 54-46. Now they are just 8 games over 500, but more importantly, not only are they now a full 9 games back of the Philadelphia Phillies, but they are only a game and a half above the New York Mets. The Mets. M-E-T-S, Mets. I know that's not their thing, but it works. Shut up. They are 1.5 games up on the Mets right now. But here's the problem. As far as that number 1 wild card spot, that first overall wild card seed, well, ladies and gentlemen, I am sad to report to you that they now share a win total with the San Diego Padres, which means I am just a couple of games away from my prediction coming true before we even get to the damn weekend. They are just 1 win ahead of the Cardinals of St. Louis, who are on a bit of a heater right now. They are, as of now, just 2 wins above the Pittsburgh Pirates. Paul Skeens is a dude, all right? And I like the Pirates. Cody Decker and I both agree the Pirates might be a wild card team this year. I just didn't think they'd be a wild card team over the Braves. And if you're keeping track, they are also just 1 win ahead of the Arizona Diamondbacks. There are now 4 teams in the National League that are breathing down the neck of the Atlanta Braves right now. One of them was in the World Series last year. The other 2 out of the NL Central.
Poof.
Yeah, that lead is indeed poof for the Atlanta Braves. Listen, I don't like it. Makes me sick. I am nauseous right now talking about it. As a Braves fan, but as a baseball analyst, I made the call on Tuesday that Atlanta by next Tuesday would not have the number 1 overall wild card seed. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to look like a stinking genius and also a very, very sad boy on Tuesday when we spin around that prediction and prove that I was correct.
Nope.
So I don't know what you're saying. Nope for.
Nope.
I called the shot. They're 0-4 since then, Lonzo. It is painful to accept reality sometimes. Trust me, I avoid acknowledging reality as often as possible. Reality's a bad, scary place, and I like to get away from it as much as I can.
All right, you got me
but
there.
They're
That's true. That's true. You do like to do that.
The best I can. I'm actually quite good at escaping reality when I allow myself. But you're 0-4. Right? You're 1-4 off the break. You've lost 4 in a row, 2 to the Cardinals, 2 to the Reds. The best thing that happened to Atlanta yesterday was that the back half of a doubleheader got rained out, or they'd have lost 5 in a row, and they would have surrendered the first overall wild card seed in the National League. And they'd have done it yesterday, 2 days after I predicted it, that it would take a week. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. Got a lot of ACC ball we're talking about. We'll let you know. 9 o'clock, Hatin Ass Mario coming on the show. We're going to have him call in, and we'll talk a little NFL training camp with him. Working on Rashad Beard, waiting on Rashad Beard. Haven't heard back from Rashad. We'll see if he's going to show up or not. I hope he does. Miss Rashad. Been a minute since we talked to him. And Fight Club coming up at 9:20. Busy day. Don't go anywhere. The Rob Brown Show rolls on after this. It is the Fan Upstate.
97.7 FM Greenville. 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
Hey, don't you want to see it?
Upstate. From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Weather Center, here's the Carolina's most trusted forecast on the Fan Upstate. Scattered showers and storms today, cloudy skies high 83. Night chance for storms, low of 71. Friday chance for storms 85, and chance for storms for the weekend with highs in the mid-80s.
I got to step away, Zoe. You want me to put the screen up?
Yes, please.
All right. Be right back, guys. Stay right there for me.
I'm always on the.
All right, we're back. Thanks for hanging in there, my dudes and dudettes.
From anywhere. That's why I partnered with Beacon.
Can we just fire everyone in USSF? Oh man,
I depend on, like GAF, right in my fingertips.
That was
24/7.
That was painful.
I rely on Beacon because I never stop building, and neither do.
But France is spectacular. I think that's just they are so deep in their programs, and that is one of the reasons that I have pushed for a very long time that we need to focus on our youth academy development. Like the MLS academies are doing a good job of starting to move on from, you know, being something that frankly you have to have money to participate in. They're starting to award scholarships. They're starting to grow the academy level, which is good. It's great. It has to happen. But it's. I mean, we're so far behind everybody else that it is going to take a long time to get caught up. So it's one of those things that it's hard for us as fans to be patient because the way that our sports leagues work, like we're in tune with the concept of needing, if we don't get immediately better, we fire everybody. And with international football, it is an exercise in patience, which is not easy for a lot of people.
20 seconds.
Also,
new life in the next break.
New life in the next break. The trip thing got me. I just got by the trip thing. I came from walking back that way, and
today of all days. Yep. I'm sorry I missed it.
Always streaming wherever you are on the Odyssey app. Make the Fan Upstate a favorite.
For those of you that have been following our coverage of ACC Media Days this week, and especially those of you that have been watching on the live stream, you are aware of the we haven't officially named it, though we probably should. There is an electrical wire covering on the ground behind me. It's like a little rubber mound that's about 2.5 inches tall, about 6 inches wide, and sloped on both sides. And all week long, I have had the streaming camera turned just enough to leave it in the frame because it has been causing, shall we say, missteps for people since I got here on Monday. Okay, and so all week long we've been watching people kind of stumble on this thing, and just so you know, I'm not a complete jerk. If we're on break or whatever, and I see somebody coming, I'll do my best to warn them, like, hey, watch your step. But like when I'm on the air, I obviously can't every time. And so we've been watching people kind of hit the brakes as they go over this thing, especially people with bags or people who are on their phones not paying attention. Well, during the break, guess what I did? I was walking down the hallway. I was on my phone, banging out an email in response to something that a higher up at the station sent me, just so we were all on the same page as far as what today was going to shape up like. And as I was walking back from over there, back to over here, I got by the thing. The front of the right toe dragged on it, and I nearly became the first full victim, like the first to the ground victim that I am aware of the tripping hazard there. So, that's karma in the universe, man. That's what it is. I got Lonzo.
In defense of the people who have nearly stumbled, some have stumbled but haven't fallen. There's a really loud guy right next to the thing, and they're watching him and hearing him, and you're a distraction.
I mean, I'm not saying that's incorrect. I'm not going to agree with it, but I'm also not going to say you're wrong.
Plus,
all right?
I believe you have your screen set up to where people can see that you're also streaming.
Oh, yeah.
We know that because we had some posers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have had a number of people over the past couple of days that have looked to the left or the right of the sign behind me, realized they were on a stream, and hit us with the duck face pose a couple of times. And I think that so far, one or two of them have gotten got by the tripping hazard as well. I will say, so I don't know if you can see it. They have put a cone up next to it today.
I do see the cone.
Yeah.
And it's only been, who knows if maybe you.
I don't know if it was there yesterday or not.
Yeah, because you weren't there yesterday.
Yeah.
So, but good move by them. Took a couple of days, but they realized the hazard.
They figured it out.
It's a big yellow cone. When you're sitting the way you're sitting, people can't see it on the stream, but it's there, and it's very noticeable.
It is.
In front of that wonderful polished walnut or whatever that is on that wall. I don't know.
It is nice. It's a nice hotel. It's nice. Nice digs, I believe, is what they say. All right, let's get to some stuff here. Since we got just a couple of minutes in this segment, I think it's only appropriate at this point, as we were not on the air yesterday, to address something that absolutely rocked the NFL world yesterday, something that turned the NFL on its head, and that something was Joe Burrow's head. As Joe Burrow decided going into spring training that he was going to go from Joey Ice to Joey Ice Ice Baby. He was going to go from Joey B to Joey M, as in Joey M from 2004.
Thank you, because I was wondering when the real Joe Burrow would
Please
stand up.
stand up.
Yes.
Joey B said, I'm taking it back to the old school because I'm an old fool who's so cool, and went with the short, bleached blonde haircut. And here's the thing. Zoe, if any of my guys showed up to a Rob Brown sponsored event with that, they probably catch a lot of flack from the fellas. Joey B has just been celebrated for this. Like, do you understand how cool that you have to be to show up in 2024 with the 2003 Justin Timberlake and be able to pull it off? To be able to rock into an NFL camp and have everybody go, I wonder if I could get away with the shaved, bleached look, because Joey B did it.
Yeah, but I mean, and it's sad because he had a good head of hair before he did this, and it was I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to not look like Macaulay Culkin, and this helped, but I think, from a distance, he looks more like Pete Davidson. And I don't know if that's what he was going for.
See, I didn't get the Pete Davidson vibes. I got Eminem, but like if he grew up on a golf course, right? Like that's what I got. I got Eminem, but I eat filet mignon vibes out of Joey B. I
guess you would know about that. So
yeah, I mean, what do you want?
Okay.
I was listening yesterday as I was rolling around a little bit because I obviously came back to Greenville for the Creed concert on Tuesday. And yesterday, before I got in the vehicle to come back up here to Charlotte last night for also the Creed show, I met the fiance for lunch, right? She took lunch from her office. We met up and had lunch. And as I was going to lunch, I'm flipping channels, and I heard the godfather of sports talk, Jim Rome, which you can hear on this station from noon to 3 every single weekday afternoon. I heard Rome talking about it. And Rome said, as is kind of a rule, it's on this one too, personal appearances are out of bounds as show fodder, which I absolutely agree with Jim Rome on that. All right. But then he said, except Joey B, we're going to talk about him. And I went, oh, no, my man is about to put Joey B on blast. Sorry, Joey M on blast. He's about to get after my guy. And Jim Rome said, I'm going to tell you right now, I saw this and I thought maybe I could bring it back. Maybe I should go get the peroxided hair again. Maybe I should go bleach the locks again, cut it down, cut it tight, and lock the bleached blonde look back in. And it went from what I thought Rome intended to be a ha-ha funny bang on Joey B and turned into the entire army of clones going, we are about to have an epidemic of football fans going out there and getting the 04 Timberlake back.
All right, so Shane brings up a good point. He throws out Cody Rhodes. So maybe he's just a Cody Rhodes friend, a believer. Maybe he believes in Joe Hendry because, Joe Hendry's got that look too. So maybe that's what he's doing. I don't know.
If I may. Adrenaline in my soul. Bengals win the Super Bowl. Like, it's done. It's over. You can book it. The fight song's already there. Joey B's coming out to pyro and whoa, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
You didn't see what happened behind you. When
did I catch some eyes? I did.
There was an older dude, a sturdy gentleman, who right when you did it, he was trying to push his luggage forward, and it got caught, and it just right at the exact moment. It was beautiful. He had to turn around and take it backwards. But yeah, it's I thought he was going over right when you were singing.
I mean, what'd you say earlier? I am a distraction.
Yes, which I definitely would have clipped, and it would have been up on the stream really fast.
Not only am I a distraction,
I haven't done a reel yet, but that would have been one.
That would have been the first one. I'm going with it. I'm going with it. All year long, we'll be singing Adrenaline in My Soul, Bengals to the Super Bowl. Joey B will do it once again. Whoa! It's book it. You can't rock that haircut and do anything but be a guy in 2024.
Your song is very disrespectful on many levels. I just want to point that
out. I don't care. Bengals by now. And I'm going to add it up. We know our Super Bowl matchup, Lonzo. We know our Super Bowl matchup. Our Super Bowl matchup is booked. On one hand, representing the American Football Conference comes Joey Rhodes, Joey B, Joey M&M. And over from the National Football Conference will be your New Orleans Saints. Why? Because Lonzo, our guy, a guy who transcends fandom.
Here's the thing. What you're going to do is you're going to stop right now. You're not going to say what that is because you're going to tease it for a Fight Club when we're going to talk about it extensively.
Then I will simply say,
I mean, you can override me here.
No.
But that is on the list for Fight Club.
See, I think it's so good. I think it's so nice we can talk about it twice.
So you're
we bring it up here? No, I won't. I won't. Listen, because when we were going through the pre-show, I was trying to have a very pleasant conversation with Lonzo when he told me to shut up because he wasn't done with Fight Club yet. And it made me sit here in silence for 20 minutes. All right?
I think we know that's not true.
Told me to my face. He said, stop talking to me.
You're just trying to leave me in line again. That's what you're trying to do.
I will simply say, representing the AFC, Joey B. Representing the NFC, the Saints. And you'll find out why. You'll find out why at 9:20 this morning when it's time for Fight Club with the great one Lonzo, where we talk all things MMA, boxing, and pro wrestling. And that's coming up later this morning at 9:20. All you need to know is that Joey B., Joey Ice Baby, Joey M. Manem is going to the Super Bowl. Whoa. It's happening. You can book it now. That guy rocking that look, Bengals by 90 week after week. I'm betting the over on win total. I'm betting a divisional title. I'm betting a showing in the Super Bowl. I'm betting a win in the. You can't beat that guy. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
New life.
All right, guys, on the stream, we will be back momentarily. for a second. There's a guy at the water table that's doing a show over here a minute ago. And he goes, "Did you just sing the Cody Rhodes theme song a minute ago?" I went, "Yeah." And he goes, "Yeah, we heard you over my mic." I'm like, "Oh, that's my bad, dude." He goes, "No, we all sang it right after you did." It's like, yes, yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So he didn't even ask you context.
Nope. Didn't care.
Because it doesn't really matter.
Didn't care. T. Wilson says, when does Clemson come on today? Clemson's press conference is going to be around 2 o'clock. No, excuse me, 1 o'clock. I will record interviews with Cade Klubnik and Dabo Sweeney at 1:30. 1:30 is Cade, and then 1:38 is Dabo. So it'll be one after the other. We got about 8 minutes with both.
30 seconds.
I cannot promise that I'm going to go live. It's just going to depend on if I can get the equipment set up the way I need it to be able to go live. But I will send those interviews when they are concluded to Diesel and Cole to play this afternoon in Offsides.
Or wire to wire. I mean, whichever.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's definitely what I said, and definitely not anything else.
At least it wasn't on the air.
On the Rob Brown Show with Lonzo. Now, weekday morning, 6 to 10 on the Fan Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show continues. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob of the Great One, Lonzo with you. 844-326-3663. That is the number to the renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone, 844-326-3663. You can text us at 71307, 71307 if you want to go in that direction. 71307 is the text line. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. We'll read them on the air. Texter said that they were having some issues with us live on the radio app, but we're good now, so that's great news. Texter said, I love the Manning cast. It's not as good as Inside the NBA, but it's also not as old. I'm going to say I'm a big Manning cast guy. I think this is something. I don't think this is something Lonzo and I have disagreed on. I love the Manning cast, and I prefer the Manning cast to the traditional broadcast. Lonzo's the exact other way around. And the reasoning for me is the reasoning that I like it and Lonzo doesn't. I like when you get, and this is probably more apt for a certain breed of cat. I don't need Joe Buck telling me what happened every time the ball is snapped. I have eyeballs. I can see it already. So to have a different perspective and watch it and listen through the eyes of somebody who is going to go a little bit deeper into the X's and O's, and also just be a couple of dudes sitting on the couch being a couple of dudes, that I just have fallen into that. And I think that's why I like Inside the NBA on TNT for the same reasons, though, is because you got three dudes who used to do it. Then you got Ernie, who is as unique of a character as you're going to find anywhere on TV, and just a dude I want to grab some brewskis with and talk basketball. I like an alternative discussion to just the same talking heads saying the same thing. I like different.
All right, so when I watch a football game, I barely notice the play-by-play because I'm doing, analysis in my head. As far as Manning cast goes, if I want to see that, I'll watch Mystery Science 3000 or whatever year it is, because that's basically what they're doing, and they're a distraction to the game. So are they entertaining? Absolutely. But when you're starting to pay more attention to them than you are the actual game, which is our job to talk about the game that just happened, I don't need that distraction. I'd rather just watch a game.
That is one time.
If I want an entertaining sports show, I'll watch this show on playback on stream, or I'll watch McAfee, or I'll watch someone like that. That
is the one time that I would argue that my ADHD becomes a superpower because I'm 100% locked into both. I like the
so don't act
broadcast.
like I can't do two things at once, because I can do 15 things at once. I just like sit down in front of me while I'm trying to watch this That's why at wrestling, when I go to wrestling, it's like, sit down, dude. I mean, cheer where you need to cheer. But in the middle of the thing, I don't want to hear your too sweet thing. Do you want everyone to look at you? No, I don't want to look at you. I want to look at the people in the ring. In this case, I don't look at Manning. I don't look at that forehead. I want to look. If I want to look at a big head, I'll look in the mirror. I will listen. I want to watch the game.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, the one knock that I'm like, okay, I'm on board with that I have is how frequently they make the game the little box and make the Mannings the big box. Like, it should just be the game the big box, put the Mannings in the little box, and when you have a guest on, just add a third box that is also down in the corner. Outside of that, I like the different perspectives. I like Peyton talking about the play-in process, calling out the spots, calling out the right shots to hit, et cetera, et cetera. I dig it. And like I said, I think that's why I like Inside the NBA on TNT, because the boys know ball, and they're going to break down ball from more than an elementary perspective. And I guess for me, that's what it comes down to is I like when the game is being broken down on and at a higher level than you are apt to get with just your regular play-by-play guys. He runs the ball off the right-hand side, 6 yards on the carry. That's a first. Like, tell me what happened. Because I know what I'm looking at, but, like, even as a knower of ball, there are still things that you might point out that I miss, and I appreciate having that extra element, which I think the boys on Inside the NBA on TNT bring to the discussion, which is why, frankly, I do not want that show to go away. I don't want that show to go away. I want that show to stick around for as long as we can get that show to stick around. So we'll see what happens with it as we get a little bit closer. The NBA signed a $76 billion television deal that we're going to see. We're going to see what comes out of it. We're going to see what happens over the next couple of years to that show. Talking a lot of ACC ball. We have talked about a couple of different teams so far. One of them that I brought up was the Miami Hurricanes. We talked about Mario Cristobal and the fact that just historically, this dude has not gotten the most out of his teams. And again, once is an occurrence, twice is a pattern, 3 times is just what it is, right? Or I should say twice is a trend, 3 times is a pattern. 3 times it just is what it is. And that's kind of where I'm at with this team. I'm at the point where I got to think Miami has got to be skeptical. And here's what I'll say. Despite the fact that this team has, to me, put together a roster that should be lockstep with Clemson, should be lockstep with Florida State, should be lockstep with those teams for contention in this conference, I honestly, I don't think they're going to be. I don't think they're going to be. I've seen this team in years gone by lay down. I've seen this team quit on Mario Cristobal, and nothing changes about the guy, right? Like, I compare him right now to what I'm seeing out of Brian Snicker in the Atlanta Braves, right? Atlanta is flat right now. Atlanta's in a bad place right now. Atlanta can't get out of their own way. They can't make anything happen. Even the day that they do, in their second to last loss, they had 3 hits. A group of MLBers had 3 hits. As a team, they went 3 for 29. That's not good. Then in the game, they turn around and they get 10 hits. They give up 9 runs, and they lose that game as well. And I've said this to Cody Decker. I've said it on Bet for the Cycle. I've said it on this show. I've said it on You Better You Bet. I've said it on every other show that I've hosted or guested on. The most frustrating thing in the world for me is, like, every time they turn the camera around to Brian Snicker, he's just kind of like sitting on the bench looking around. Like, oh, just another Tuesday. Braves lose. Just another Tuesday. And it's getting very frustrating because, to me, like, you got to do something. You got to do something, right? You got to bench somebody. You got to do something. And it's like Brian Snicker's not. I look at Mario Cristobal and I see the same thing. I see a coach who has spent 3 seasons watching his team underperform, watching his team lay down, and watching nothing come of it. And that's got to stop. All right? It's got to stop. All right, I wanted to do this. I put together a list of what I think, great one, is going to be the most impactful games in this conference so far this year. Put together a list of games that I think are going to be the games that dictate what this conference is going to look like when it is all said and done. And here's what I got. There's nowhere better to start than week 1, game 1, and that is Clemson and Georgia, right? Clemson, Georgia is a big deal. And it's not a big deal to me in terms of the result of the contest. It's a big deal to me in terms of learning who the hell Clemson is this year, right? Are they going to roll over? If they come out and they get punched in the mouth by Georgia, and they will.
By the way, it is a bigger deal if they were to win.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I don't care if they win by a point in the 9th overtime. Like, if they win this game, everybody else in the ACC's got to be on notice at that point. Florida State's on notice. SMU's on notice. Miami's on notice. If they win this game, everybody else is for sure, for certain on notice. But to me, sorry, they're not winning this game. All right. Like I'm all for the any given Saturday stuff. Y'all, Georgia is on a different level. The question to me isn't, can they win this game? Will they? And the answer is yes, they can win this game. But it will take Clemson playing a perfect game at a very, very high offensive output that we just haven't seen the last couple of years. And it will take Georgia making mistakes, a couple of turnovers, a couple of dumb plays here and there. It'll take mistakes from UGA and a perfectly efficient game from Clemson. The question mark I have is, are you A, going to compete? Are you B, not going to roll over? If you end up down 17, 20, 24 points, are you still going to come out firing, trying to get it right? And if the answer is yes, now all of a sudden that game in week 2 against Appalachian State, now that game's very interesting, right? Because do you turn around and you do what you should do and roll Appy at the house by 35? And we're going to get an idea. We are going to get an idea of who Clemson is on night 1. But that is not the only week 1 game that I think matters. The other week 1 game, Miami opens up against Florida. Now, this is interesting because I think you have in this game a pair of coaches that may very well have their future at their current schools dictated by the result of this game. This game's in Gainesville, Florida. Billy Napier, when he was brought over, a lot of folks wanted to say that Billy Napier was the future. Billy Napier was the guy that was going to point this team in the right direction. He was going to get the recruiting right. Offensively, this team was going to hit a next level. And frankly, Florida hasn't. I'm not going to say they have regressed under Billy Napier, but they have certainly not progressed under Billy Napier. Miami, on the flip side, if Mario Cristobal loses this game against Florida on the road at Florida, if Mario Cristobal walks out of this game against, and I'm going to say, an inferior Florida Gator team, but it is in Gainesville, still one of the most difficult places to play, especially in week 1 when the Gator faithful have some level of belief in this squad. If Mario Cristobal loses this game at Florida in week 1, Miami fans will be calling for him. They'll be coming for his head at that point. And I think that is a very big deal. So, I'm going to say week 1, easily the 2 biggest games. Florida State, Georgia Tech, week 0. I'm going to say that qualifies, right? Because that, to me, is going to either tell everybody that FSU maintained levels of competitiveness that everybody thought they were going to lose when Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman and Trey Benson and the rest of that offense at Jordan Travis all went to the league, or it's going to tell everybody that they have taken the step back that so many people think that they have. That game's in Dublin, Ireland, so you've got all of the travel circumstances at play too. Those are the 3 games from week 1. Tell you what we're going to do when we come back in the third hour of the show. We will take a look at the rest of what I consider the most impactful games of the ACC calendar this year. We will continue that after Lonzo does the most impactful thing that happens in these 4 hours, and he sports flashes you.
The Team USA soccer team got off to a rough start at the Summer Olympics, suffering a 3-0 defeat at the hands of powerhouse France. The U.S. held France goalless for just over an hour. But after Alexander Lacazette beat Patrick Schultz. The floodgate opened. Michael Oli and Aloy Abadi finished off the assault. The Americans face New Zealand Sunday in game number 2. The NBA has rejected an offer from Warner Brothers that might have signaled the return of the popular studio show Inside the NBA on TNT. Instead, the league signed an 11-year media rights deal with Disney, NBC, and Amazon Prime Video, valued at $76 billion. Make sure you tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for a brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Dees will get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, a whole lot of fun. It's all Wire to Wire.
Let's admit it, upstate traffic continues to be a very nasty rush hour. We've got a crash on northbound I-85 at River Road, at least one lane block there. Northbound I-85 at Highway 101, the right lane block. Still about a 15-minute delay.
Admittedly, the flashing thing got me
I-85
again.
Spartanburg Highway, we've got one lane block there. So both
developed
sides of
immunity
the road
to that
are really backed up. 15, 20-minute delay there. So for the News Talk 98.9 WRD Traffic Center, I'm Lloyd Houston on the Fan, upstate.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns: a free home inspection from Mount.
Does Rob come back with floppy bacon or crispy bacon?
In its place.
Get your free last time he was there, he came back with some bacon. It was not floppy bacon, and he looked like he was enjoying it. I'm just saying.
They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000,
We all saw it. We did. We saw him do it.
It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an 8.
It looks like someone who just had bacon. I'm just saying.
I did not have bacon. I was very close to going to get another plate of bacon. But, you know what? I didn't even tell you this. You got your karma, because I left the show last night at 10:15 or so. They were starting their encore. It was the exact same set list, right? So they were starting their encore. And I was walking to the car because you could hear this. You could hear the show all the way out to the parking lot. I got to the parking lot without staying for the encore. I was in the parking lot in park for an hour and 50 minutes before we moved to get out of the parking lot. I didn't get to the hotel last night until about 12:30 to then spin around for the 4 a.m. alarm to go off.
So what you're saying, you were in your vehicle in comfort in the air conditioning out of the rain, but you want to compare that to what I did.
All right. I was trying to level the playing field. It
was
not
a nice
work.
try. Remember who you're talking
work.
to.
Yeah.
Remember who you're talking to.
Yeah. No one holds a grudge like Colonel Grudge.
Absolutely.
I did just talk to Brandon McGinnis, the ACC's media guy, and he walked over and he said, I was listening to you a minute there. And I said, why? He goes, I'm a big Bengals guy. I'm a big Joey B fan. He said, I heard you say that you were thinking about going with the bleach blonde. He goes, I think I'm going to go with the backless suit for Media Day next year.
Yeah, did you see that? That was just, yeah. Not everyone can pull that off.
No one can pull that off but Joe Burrow.
Are we expecting Mario to call?
Yeah, but he's not till 9.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So if he called now, it would be early. Okay.
It would be an hour early.
All right. My bad. I mean, did Burrow look at that and go, yeah, I'll rock that. I'm Joe Burrow. I can wear the backless thing. I could do that.
I don't think that Joe Burrow has ever looked at anything and thought, I can't do that. In fact, I don't even think he looks at that and goes, can I pull that off? I think he just looks at it and goes, I'm wearing that.
Or it's more like, how much you paying me to wear that?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Because I don't think they're doing that for free. I could be wrong.
That's fair.
New life in the first break.
10-4.
Man, check this out. For an official Rob Brown lockdown. Represents being brave. Yeah. Manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show.
Hey, Big Daddy, how you doing?
Real good, Corey LaJoy. Thank you very much for asking. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The third hour of the Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate is underway. I am Rob Brown, back in the palatial Fan Upstate studios, the guy in charge of this and every radio show you've ever enjoyed, you've ever loved. He is the great one, Lonzo, rolling through. Yes, he is. He's like the Braun Breaker of executive producers.
Be glad I'm not.
Yeah, I am. Oh, well, I mean, I'm glad I'm on remote if you are. How's that? Speaking of Braun Breaker and a little pro wrestling, we got Fight Club coming up for you here in just a little while, a little bit over an hour. In an hour, we will be joined on the air by one Hatin Ass Mario of the BetQL Network. We're going to talk a very quick bit of Olympic basketball as the boys have finished their Olympic tune-up matches and are getting set for the beginning of the Summer Games. The opening ceremonies in Paris, France, taking place today. Well, of course, I'll watch them this evening. LeBron James and Coco Gauff selected as the flag bearers for Team USA in tonight's opening ceremonies. And then just a few hours after that, Team USA basketball takes on Nikola Jovic, and the rest of the Serbian basketball squad in game number 1 of Olympic pool play. Very excited about that. And then, of course, over the next 2 weeks, effectively, Lonzo and I become your guide to all things Summer Games. Yes, we are handball experts, all right? Handball connoisseurs even. And I'm very excited to break down some handball with you. Perhaps we'll get into some badminton on the show. Maybe even table tennis as the Olympics roll on.
We will be talking shuttlecocks. And, for the next couple weeks.
Oh, yeah. Gonna be electric.
By the way, those guys hit the birdie so fast you can't hardly see it.
Dude, when it takes off, it's like, remember how back in the day, the NHL, for like one season, they tried that thing where they light up the puck and then they have like a laser trail behind it so that the casuals could follow the puck, right?
I always thought that was kind of cool, actually.
I thought it was fun. Hockey guys hated that thing. I thought it was a great concept. The problem was hockey guys hated it. And hockey guys are the primary viewing audience. You weren't adding enough people, right? Because like I watch hockey during the season, and the fiance will walk with me, and her number one complaint is that the puck's too fast. She can't keep up with where it is. And I will acknowledge that the longer that you watch hockey, you start to be able to gauge where the puck is going before it goes there, right? You start to see offenses set up and start to see runs made, etc. And so once you have a little bit better idea about where the puck's going to go before it goes, it makes it easier to track because you kind of have an idea of what the next move is. But if you don't know hockey, it doesn't work like that, right? And it can be hard to follow. The problem is the hockey dudes hated it, and you got it. Hockey, unlike a lot of other sports, like you have to cater to your longtime hockey guys. You can't just cater to the folks you hope will see a game, see the cool laser puck thing, and then stick around. Because I'd be willing to bet you thought it was cool. It probably didn't bring you to watch more hockey than you've ordinarily watched in years gone by.
Well, it didn't for me, but it doesn't mean that they didn't get a few people in by doing that. Who became lifelong hockey fans after doing that. I think they should just put LEDs inside the thing. Let's make that thing glow like different colors while it's out there. That'd be sweet.
I have said in the years gone by, at the end of the day, if you ain't sticking, you don't matter. If you're not coming back for more, you don't matter in the eyes of the broadcasters. And I think that's what happened there. How did we get it light up hockey pucks? How did we get here? Like, I know we had a reason. I just don't know what Olympic sports. That's it. I'm good at this. Olympic sports.
Wow, your clap echoed as if
really
you're in a
did.
big old empty room.
Really did. I believe in Joe Hendry. So I think that once the Olympics get going, man, like it's going to be my favorite 2 weeks of this year, hands down. Like I love the Olympics. I cannot wait. It's going to be electric. And once the handball tournament gets underway, it's all uphill.
I'm just glad that period of only baseball is over. Now we've got a bunch of stuff going on, starting tonight with the opening ceremony for the Olympics, and then we got preseason football a week from today.
A week from today.
I mean, sports are back.
Sports are back, baby. All right. We were going through the list of what I think are the most impactful and important games of the 2024 Atlantic Coast Conference schedule. I gave you 2 out of week 1. You know what they are. Clemson and Georgia, Miami at Florida. Again, we're going to get a gauge on who and what Clemson is. We're going to get a gauge on what Dabo has done for and with this team in the offseason. And more importantly, you're going to get a read on the mindset of this football team, because I got a feeling that is, respectfully to the Tiger faithful, it's going to be a long night in Atlanta, Georgia. All right? It's going to be that Georgia team is a next-level squad. It's going to be a long night in the ATL. What's the next week against App State look like if they take a whooping? And Dabo pointed out on the flip side, if you go there and win that game, how do you put it in the rearview mirror? You got to put that in the rearview mirror just as quickly, right? Like, to go in there, how many times have we see a team pull a week 1 upset against a higher ranked team, and then what do? Like, they get all up in their fees about it. They get all cocky and confident, and then they roll up into week 2 and they get punched in the mouth by another team that they went, oh, they beat who? We got to get ready now, and the letdown happens. So to me, game 1 is important. Week 2 for Clemson is every bit, if not more so. Let's roll on. Let's go to week 2 in the ACC. This is a big one. Tennessee is going to be good. How good? I'm not sure. We got to see how good Nico Amaliva is going to be at quarterback. There's a lot of folks in the SEC that think this dude is going to be an absolute stud. Obviously, Heupel's done a great job at Tennessee. Last year, Tennessee kind of came out of obscurity and became one of the most noticeable and talked about teams in the SEC and in football as a whole. Why am I talking about Tennessee? Because on September 7th, there is another team that we mentioned back in the segment where we stacked up the ACC teams, and that is NC State. NC State is going to have a young man playing quarterback that we are going to be interviewing and talking to right after the show. That is quarterback Grayson McCall. Grayson McCall, who you will remember, came over from Coastal Carolina, where he lit up scoreboards since 2019. Grayson McCall is a dude that puts up like a lot of yardage. I'm a big fan of Grayson McCall. I'm really interested to see what Grayson McCall does in this Wolfpack offense. I think Grayson McCall is going to be a difference maker for NC State. Now, they do lose Peyton Wilson. Big blow to the offense for this team. Big blow to the offense. But this is a game that NC State, I think, can kind of jump to the next level, right? Yesterday, we stacked them up in tiers. I got tier number 1, that's Florida State, and that's Clemson. I got tier number 2. This is not talent, because in terms of talent, Miami's in that tier. But I'll believe Miami's in that tier when Miami starts to win games in that tier, and they have not done so yet. So I'm going to go tier 1, Florida State and Clemson. Tier 2, I'm putting Miami. I'm putting SMU into that. And I think I might be willing to put NC State there. I think I might be willing to put NC State there, but this is a game that they're going to have an opportunity to prove it. Let's run it back to September 21st. NC State is at Clemson. Now, a lot of this game and what this game's impact will be, I think, will be determined by Clemson v. Georgia and by NC State against Tennessee. If both of those teams get hammered by both of those SEC teams, this game may have a different vibe to it when it kicks off on the 21st. But I really do think this game, more than Clemson versus Georgia and more than the Wolfpack versus the Volunteers, I think this game is a season-defining game. I think this is the game for either one of these schools. If either one of these teams goes on a run, I think this is the game that will start it. If either of these teams falls off the cliff, I think this is the game that starts that decline. This is a massive game, NC State at Clemson on the 21st. Let's go to September 27th as we roll through what I believe are the most impactful games on the ACC slate this year. September 27th, Virginia Tech is at Miami. This one's also massively interesting to me. This one's massively interesting to me because I think both of these teams are going to be tested. Miami's got that opener that we've already talked about where they're taking on the University of Florida at Florida. I think that is a game that is either going to start the Fire Mario Cristobal bandwagon or he wins that game and then this one becomes a massive deal. Virginia Tech and the evolution of this team right now is getting questioned. Brent Pry, who has showed up there, is in the process of figuring things out in Blacksburg. And there's a lot of good teams. There's two very good teams and a lot of pretty good teams at the top of the ACC. The question mark is Virginia Tech under Brent Pry in that second echelon or not? And their performance against Miami will prove it. If Miami loses to Florida and then they turn around and they drop one to Virginia Tech at the house, which is, again, improbable. I acknowledge improbable, not impossible. If Mario Cristobal was to lose both of these games, Mario Cristobal's job at Miami is gone. And that might justify an in-season firing. That's how bad that would be. That's why that's a big deal. Let's keep rolling on. Let's go to September 28th. North Carolina at Duke. This one feels impactful to me. It might not be, all right? I don't know how much it matters in terms of the pecking order at the top of the conference. North Carolina loses Drake May. Drake May was the reason that North Carolina gave themselves a shot last year. Drake May, good quarterback. Do I necessarily believe in him at the NFL level? Not yet, to be honest. But I did believe in him as a college quarterback. Drake May is gone. Is that going to do anything for North Carolina? Yeah, it makes them worse. It makes them progressively worse. There is no doubt about that. But also they've got some dudes down there. Mario Hampton is going to be an absolute guy. My question mark is for Duke. My question mark is for, and this is correct, I read it once, head coach Manny Diaz? Head coach Manny Diaz? That's what. All right, so Mike Elko leaves Duke. He goes down to take over the cult of Texas A&M. Yeah, it's cult. I said it. I'm sticking with it. I'm riding with it. Texas A&M's a cult. All right, you're weird. Stop it with the World War II cosplay. Nobody likes you. All right, Mike Elko goes down to A&M. Y'all, Mike Elko is a guy. Mike Elko might be my favorite college coach that I follow from a distance. We got the chance to interview Mike Elko here at ACC Media Days last year. Phenomenal interview. Guy that cares. Guy that the players line up behind. I'm actually a little apprehensive that Texas A&M might be good now under Mike Elko because Jimbo stank. I tried to warn Texas A&M when they hired Jimbo Fisher. The guy's a pretender. All right, always was. He had Jameis Winston, or none of you would know who Jimbo Fisher is, okay? I think they got a guy now. But what does that mean for Duke? Is Duke obligated to fall down into obscurity again? Are they obligated to go back to the, haha, you're a basketball school jokes? We'll find out. And this game will go a long way in proving that. There's another one that's on the docket. We've talked about Louisville. This is also on September 28th. We've talked about Louisville. Jeff Brom is another one of those dudes that is a dude. This guy is putting together some offensive talent that I think is probably above the traditional pay grade of the Cardinals. However, they have one issue. They've been riding with top-notch quarterbacks coming through Louisville for a hot minute, and they do not have one right now. They don't. They're playing with dudes that are transfers in that couldn't be anywhere else. Louisville's not going to be there. Here's the thing. They were in a similar situation last year, and they beat Notre Dame. This year, they got to go visit Touchdown Jesus. This year, they got to go up to South Bend, Indiana, a place that is, again, tough to play football. If Louisville under Jeff Brom wants to keep its positioning inside that second tier in the ACC, they got to compete with Notre Dame. Marcus Freeman, it feels like, turned the corner with Notre Dame. That's not me saying I'm ready to put them in the playoffs yet. Not me saying that they're going to be the team that's kind of the wild card making some ACC moves here. I'm just going to say Louisville at Notre Dame becomes an interesting game for either Louisville to keep their pecking order second tier in the SEC or for Notre Dame to prove that, yeah, we have finally done it. Let's keep going. October 5th. There's only one game that matters October 5th, boys and girls. The University of Clemson, or Clemson University, pick 'em and choose 'em, is traveling down to Tallahassee, Florida to take on the mighty Seminoles of Florida State. And, of course, there's drama, there's storylines, there's DJ Uiagalelei, the former Clemson Tiger turned Oregon State Beaver, turned Florida State Seminole, that will be leading the Noles into battle behind the war cry of Chief Osceola. There's storylines about Dabo Swinney proving that it's still his conference, and last year was a one-off, was the exception, not the rule. This is, Lonzo, correct me if I'm wrong, the biggest game in the ACC of any week all season long, Clemson at Florida State?
If it were a movie, it would start with this.
I think you're right. Oh, I thought you meant the game itself. Fair enough. Yeah, listen, this is the biggest game of the year in the Atlantic Coast Conference. No ifs, ands, or buts. All right? It is the biggest game in the conference. Everything else behind this game. This is a conference superiority game, a conference supremacy game. I have said already, I think you're seeing this game twice this year. I think you're seeing this game in the regular season. I think you're seeing this game in the Atlantic Coast Conference Championship game on December 7th. I think you're getting this contest twice. And I think a lot of momentum goes to the winner of this competition down in Tallahassee, Florida. If the Noles get this one, the questions about Dabo are going to be there. If Dabo finishes the year 11-1 and they match up again, great. But my question is, what happens if this is loss number 2 for Clemson? What happens if they drop one to Georgia and they drop the Florida State game? What happens if they end up in a spot where they're going into that South Carolina game as a 2-loss football team? What if this is loss number 2? How does that impact the mentality of the game? There is so much drama written into this game on October 5th. I don't think you can avoid making it the most important and impactful game of the season, not just for Clemson, not just for Florida State, but for the conference at large. When we come back, we will run through the rest of the season, the most impactful games across the ACC schedule. Then Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast will hopefully join us to wrap up this hour. Hatin Ass Mario to start the next. Fight Club after that. What the X is going on. And we call it a week because Lonzo and I are off tomorrow. Leave me alone. It's the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
New life.
Yep. All right, guys. Be right back. Stay right there for me, please, and thank you.
Analysis and entertainment all rolled into one sports talk show. This is the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
You know, this is radio, so I can't say, hey, see this shirt that I'm wearing right now? So you'll have to take my word for it. But this shirt that I'm wearing right now, yeah, it was in the back of the closet for a hot minute, which is too bad.
I had to bring trip cam back up for everyone, just in case. Not that we want to see anyone fall. It was a little stumble, okay. It'll be all right. Good morning, Keegan. I should have reached out to you because maybe you would have said, hey, we're here, and come and got me so we could have went in together instead of me having to wait out, 3 hours like Rob did. I don't think he would do that to me, but Rob did. So, there's that. Plus, by bringing this back on the screen, the QR code's there. You guys could actually use the QR code. I do enjoy how some people step gingerly and other people just stroll right over that thing. Oh, man, she almost bought it. Hopefully Rob will return soon. Exactly, Keegan. That's the thing. But who did know? You guys knew. And I didn't know because it was my first concert. And I had, someone who I work with closely not tell me. And then you could have reached out and helped me out, Keegan. I don't blame you as much as I blame Rob, though. It's all his fault. By the way, Rob, QC in the next break.
10-4.
Yeah, that guy.
I never saw him again that day.
I still don't believe it was really Tepper. I just think it was some old guy that you thought was
just
Tepper.
an old bald guy walking around. I mean, he stared me down from across the room.
It's because you're loud. I don't know if you knew that.
I've been told.
Come back.
Listening to the program show. Only
On stage.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate live from Charlotte, North Carolina, home of the ACC football kickoff and media days. And again, thanks to our friends at Ingles, our presenting sponsor for this event. We very much appreciate Ingles coming through and hooking us up so that we could be here and bring you extensive coverage of ACC Media Days. It is very much appreciated. Remember, as NFL preseason football kicks off in 1 week from tonight, and then it is football season, which means it's also tailgate season, that your tailgating HQ is Ingles. Hit your local Ingles for all of your tailgating supplies. And as Lonzo and I have tried to remind you, multiple menu. See where my head's at? Have tried to remind you multiple times. Don't forget the cookie cake. All right, go to Ingles, get a cookie cake. Everyone at the party is going to love you that much more if you provide them with a cookie. And the best thing about a cookie cake is, when you roll out the cookie cake, you're not going to have leftovers. You're not. That thing's gone.
Yeah,
all right?
if I may real quick. So if someone's mad at you, like say for leaving them out in the rain for 3 hours, if you brought them a cookie cake.
I'll bring you a cookie cake,
You bring them a cookie
Lonzo.
cake, suddenly things smooth over a little bit. That's how a cookie cake can save relationships, can save friendships, can save the party. And so go to Ingles and get a cookie cake.
So now when I got to get back on Sunday night, and before I can lay down after a long day of driving, I got to make sure I hit Ingles on the way home and pick up a I'm sorry, Heart You Lonzo cookie cake.
No, you don't.
Oh, yeah, no, it's going to say Heart You Lonzo.
If I could finish, here's the thing that to quote Rob Brown, I don't want you to put temptation in front of you because I'm a friend, I know you're near your goal weight, and if you put a cookie cake in front of yourself, so don't do that because I, unlike other people, I'm looking out for my friend and saying don't do that.
Lonzo,
okay,
Lonzo, it's your cookie cake. I don't want any of it. It's your cookie. It is an apology, Heart You Lonzo cookie cake. All right? That's just what it is. So I'm not touching it. It's not mine. It's your apology for not being better at knowing to tell you what line to stand in.
All right. If you want to make a true apology, then
bring you a cookie cake.
Keegan needs to deliver it.
Keegan ain't getting out of bed that early in the morning. You kidding me? All right, let's keep rolling on with the we're going through the most impactful games on the ACC slate so far. Here's what we have got so far. Week 1, August 31st, Clemson versus Georgia, Miami at Florida. Week 2, September 7th, that is NC State versus Tennessee. That game is at BOA right here in Charlotte, North Carolina. September 21st, NC State at Clemson. September 27th, Virginia Tech at Miami. September 28th, North Carolina at Duke, and Louisville at Notre Dame. October 5th, I think the most impactful game. I don't even think I'm going out on a limb with this one. I think you would all agree with me. Clemson at Florida State. Then we go to October 19th. There's a few games that include the University of Miami. Why? Because Miami should be a conference contender this year. I don't like saying it. Y'all know me. I can't stand a hurricane, except those of you that are hurricanes in the Armada. I love you. But I can't stand a hurricane. I'm intrigued to see if Miami, particularly Mario Cristobal, make it out of this season unscathed. And if this game, if Miami at Louisville is a game that Miami is playing to avoid loss 3 or loss 4 at this point, I think Mario Cristobal's done. On the flip side, if this game is competitive at all, Mario Cristobal is going to be in some hot water. We'll find out. October 26th, Florida State is at Miami. Same situation. What is Miami going to be? Where is Miami going to be? And where's Florida State at this point, right? I mean, the working assumption amongst the people that I'm talking to here at Media Day is that Florida State's going to be in the mix for this conference. They are just one of the contenders in this conference. The reality is we don't know because much like Miami, the talent is there. I would make the argument that in just a few years, Mike Norvell has built a atmosphere around this team that Miami hopes they get out of Mario Cristobal this season. But it does not mean that you're just going to roll Keon Coleman and Johnny Wilson and Trey Benson and Jordan Travis to the NFL, replace those guys, and go to the moon. You got to know what DJ Uiagalelei is going to look like. A baby-face wide receiver core, a very green wide receiver core. This is a big question mark game for both FSU and Miami. Now, obviously, by October 26th, I think we'll have a much better idea of who these teams are. But today, this game looks like it could be very impactful. Let's go to November 2nd. Louisville on the road at Clemson. Louisville is a road game before this. Clemson has the week off. This is another one of those games that I think gives us a much better look at the identity of these teams. It gives us a much better look at the identity of Clemson. Because, again, a Jeff Brom coach team is going to be offensively efficient. A Jeff Brom coach team is going to be able to move the ball. But they do not have that top-flight, top-notch quarterback that they have had in years gone by. And if they don't have that, you know it's going to be different than it has been in years gone by. Jeff Brom's still doing a great job. He's not going anywhere. He's locked in at Louisville as long as he wants to be. But he does not have what he has leaned on in years gone by, and that's a highly touted QB recruit. So this is a game that, theoretically, Clemson should come into favor. Clemson should be viewed as the better team. Clemson should be looked at as a home favorite, Louisville a road dog. Doesn't mean Jeff Brom's not going to come in with every intention of winning this game, every intention of owning this game. So this is one that I think Clemson could be facing a team that is down on talent, but also understands they need some attention games. They need recruiting games. Those games that next recruiting cycle, when you're sitting at the house, when you're sitting down and watching footy, and they go into the living room of recruits and say, this is why you should come here. This is why you should be here. This is a game they'd like to lean back on. This is a game that they would like to be able to use to say, see how close we are. We got Clemson, or we almost had Clemson. With you, that'll push us over the edge. Clemson on the flip side, like I said, are they sitting at no losses at this point in the season? Are they sitting at 1, 2, 3 losses? at this point in the season. They've popped up a couple of times on this list. 3 losable games we've discussed. The Georgia game, the NC State game, the Florida State game. If they're sitting at more than a loss in this contest, this game becomes, again, that mentality game, that attitude game. And I'm intrigued to see what comes out of that. Let's go to November 9th. Florida State is at Notre Dame. This could be a playoff game spot. This could be, because this is, Lonzo pointed out earlier that we were looking for a dark horse, right? Who's the surprise team in this conference that pops up? Who's the surprise team that jumps up and makes noise? And we both agree, Rhett Lashlee and SMU could be that team. And Rhett Lashlee and SMU have an easier path to the playoffs than Florida State does, right? Florida State at Notre Dame, could it be FSU's first, second, third loss? Could this be a playoff DQing game? We will find out. Last games I got on the books, I am going to go with Florida at Florida State November 30th. Again, if Florida State's got more than one loss coming into that, it could also be a playoff DQ caliber game. And then, of course, the biggest game of the year, Lonzo, one that we're all going to be tuned in for, November 23rd, Stanford at Cal. That San Francisco-based Atlantic Coast rivalry game. Can't wait. All right, we'll talk some Carolina Panthers when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
QC.
All right, guys, be right back. Stay right there for me, please, and thank you.
FM Greenville. 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
On the free ice.
I have not, Shane, but
The Infinity Sports
I
Network.
do love a hurricane. Next time I'm down that way, I may have to go.
On the Rob Brown Show.
The Rob Brown Show continues live from Charlotte, North Carolina, home of ACC Media Days and football kickoff. Just a couple of weeks away from getting the football season started. Just 1 week away to the day away from the first NFL preseason game. We will then have to wait a full week before we see the rest of the teams in action. But it'll just be nice to have have football on the TV a week from tonight. Let's talk some Carolina Panther football here for just a minute. I want to start with getting. Let's get this part out of the way first. Go ahead, Lonzo. Go ahead. Go ahead.
What? I didn't do it.
Go ahead.
I didn't do it.
No, but I know you felt some kind of way when you saw it.
And sent it to you?
Yep.
Although you probably didn't check it because it was from me.
Nope, I did. I just didn't have anything to say in response.
This is probably 3 hours later when you looked at it. It's very, very it says to paraphrase because I don't remember exactly, Bryce Young looks like a middle schooler on his way to the first day of class or something like that.
All right. So
hey, come on. Say he doesn't. Say he doesn't.
Let's set this up. Two things happened. We talked about one already. Joey B showed up to Bengals camp rocking the 04 Slim Shady bleach blonde buzz. Okay? And then, just while everybody was lined up to talk about Joey B and his vibe showing up to camp, Bryce Young shows up to Carolina Panther camp. And he had the audacity to wear a backpack. Okay?
It's not just that. It's other things that he's wearing. And there's no video accompanied, but I guarantee you he skipped. He was skipping.
There is video. You sent me the video.
Oh, I didn't watch the video. I just sent it to you.
You just read Bryce Young has gone viral for looking like a middle schooler.
And I saw the look. I mean, the thumbnail. It's just all I needed was a picture to confirm exactly what everyone thinks. And off camera, I'm sure he was skipping because he looks like the kind of guy who would skip on his way to school. I mean, I'm just saying because he's so excited to be there. I mean, you know.
So there is a video going around of Bryce Young coming out of a building, I assume Panthers HQ, probably checking in to start camp or whatever.
He went to that building, found out where his classes were. Pretty excited about it. Found out that he got a couple buddies in period 3 and at lunch, so he knows who he's hanging with. That's I mean, so good for him.
He comes out of the building wearing a red T-shirt, nothing on it, black basketball shorts, the matching sneakers, and a backpack. And because BY is not a prototypical NFL quarterback.
What he means is he show it.
He is not a prototypical NFL quarterback. He really does look like a freshman in high school. He really does, dude. I hate it so much because I am defending this dude from the needless and relentless attacks of Lonzo and his minions out there that are coming after my guy. But
all my minions are taller than him too.
Dude, it's not ideal.
It's
Mac
brutal.
Mac just hit on the stream chat. He looked like a child. And dude, it's so bad. He really does. Now
it's like your first day of school and you think you got the look, you know? You're like, you're gonna stroll in here and people go be like, there he is. And it didn't happen that way.
So in all fairness,
I've never been able to do that because all my clothes came from Kmart. But why are you holding up the bag?
I'm a backpack guy too.
Yeah,
all right.
That bag looks like man size. Come on. He was rocking the anime bag. He was rocking the anime backpack. That's what he was doing.
Here's the problem. The problem is BY went with, I hope an oversized, like a camping backpack, like a what do they call it? Like a rucking backpack. All right, like a I'm going out in the woods by myself for a week and I need all the supplies in one backpack. And when you go with the oversized backpack on an undersized frame, it ends up making the undersized frame look undersizeder than it is. All right. It's not great. It's not great. I again, so that we're clear, this in no way, shape, or form reflects on Bryce Young's ability to play quarterback in the National Football League level. All right? None at all. I've stood next to Drew Brees. I made him look short too. All right? But my dude rolled up with what I hope was an oversized rucking backpack, and and the walk, dude, just like the super casual, I hope I see Sarah in algebra walk that he had going on with the oversized backpack.
Come on, you wanted to say it.
Oh.
It was a nerd walk. It was. That's okay. That's all right. He's making more money than probably the combined listening audience right now in 1 year, but still.
His signing bonus was more than you and I will make in our lifetime. All right? You can't, I mean, you're allowed to bag
There's still
on
hope
the guy.
for you. There's still hope for you. There's not for me.
Yeah, I don't know, man. My dreams of playing NFL quarterback, I think, are about 20 years in the past.
Yeah, you could get that big TV contract. You could do that.
Yeah. This Lonzo sent me this video on Twitter yesterday, and I saw it and went, oh no. No, none of y'all said, hey, Bryce, maybe consider like a rolling suitcase, man. Like maybe hand your backpack to one of the assistant coaches and be like, yo, can you go cram this in my locker? I'll be over there in a minute. Maybe take the backpack off and just carry the playbook, bud. Like, not the vibe, man. You got guys like me out here dying on the hill of defending Bryce from Lonzo and his minion short jokes, and then my dude rolls up into training camp like he's on his way to first period trigonometry.
Come on, Max says he just needs that forward. My books are heavy leaning.
Oh, dude, he almost has it too. Like, listen, I'm not gonna bag on it. I will give a dude credit when he's pulling off a look like Joe Burrow, like Joey B, like Joey M. I will give the credit where the credit is due. I do my best. I don't not, but I do my best not to bag on a dude for the looks department. But like, nobody in the Carolina Panthers PR department looked at BY walking out of the building and were like, yo, young man, hold on just a second. Hang on, big dog. Let me holler at you. Why don't you hand me the backpack? Why don't you let me roll that over to the locker room? Why, coach? Don't worry about it, BY. We just don't want to put extra strain on your back. And that backpack looks heavy, big dog. It looks heavy.
You know why it's heavy? Because it's got his Xbox Series X and a couple monsters in there. And, that's a heavy load right there. That's what that is.
Okay, first off, that actually will be cool. We both think that was cool. If my man was rolling up with the Xbox Series X and a copy of College Football 25 into the training camp locker room, we both think that's great.
Rob,
just wasn't the vibe.
They're that heavy. So, and especially on a diminutive frame, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle. I'm just saying.
None of y'all thought maybe take Bryce's backpack away so he looks like a normal person and not a dude on his way to the 7th grade dance after basketball practice? None of y'all thought maybe let's not let my guy get flamed on the internet for 2 days by looking like a 7th grader? Because as you know, I am Bryce Young defender numero uno in the upstate, and even I saw this video and so sent it to me and went, oh no.
You know what would have been better? is if he met up with Kyler Murray and they did the short guy secret handshake. That would have been so cool. And Kyler Murray wearing like the same backpack except it's red.
And like he slung the backpack all the way down on the back, which is the I'm trying to look cool backpack, folks. Like listen, I'm still a backpack guy. All right, I just showed you mine. My backpack every day. I roll in the studio. The laptop's in there. The tablet of truth is in there. All my necessary daily supplies, they all go in the backpack. I'm a big backpack guy. But as I am also 40 years of age, I have reached the conclusion you want that thing high up on the back, right? The lower it is, it kind of pulls you backwards. You roll the backpack all the way down the same way that like punk rock guys have a 15-foot long guitar strap so they're playing guitar at their shins. You know what I mean? Like, it's not practical. It's not comfortable. It doesn't. In fact, it makes it even harder to play guitar like that. Pull your guitar up to where it's supposed to go. It's easier to play. But when Rob Brown was 25 playing in a band, I slung that bleep as low as I could, man. Like it was way down by my knees because it looked cool. And now at 40, when I play a gig, I'm like, I played it up here. I'm playing it like the oldest old man. Put that thing up on my chest so I don't have to bend over to carry it. BY went with the I need to look cool on the first day of school, so sling that backpack all the way down, and then just the walk. None of y'all wanted to take the backpack away, man.
You just Conor McGregor. I just want you to know what you just did. You absolutely did. Max says at least he didn't one strap it. I got to admit, I have a backpack. I have to one strap it because if I go two straps, I'm going to need help getting it off because I'm a large man and it gets stuck. I can't. Do you one strap or do you double strap?
You know what? I'm mad. All right, I'm mad. And here's why I'm mad. I'm mad because all y'all got is short jokes. All right? That's all you got. All you got is short jokes. You're cracking on my guy, and all you got. This dude wore a backpack. You know who else wears backpacks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, still coming 12, 13, at least 14 people in this room that I'm in right now are currently wearing backpacks. Get off my man, Bryce Young. Let him live. He wore a backpack that's 17 now. That's normal. Just let my man live, all right? He wore a backpack, and that's all you got. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. All you got is short jokes. All Lonzo's got is a song about short guys. My man, just let my man live. And maybe if y'all would get up off his back and let him live, he could dial in on this football team and fix it. But no, every day he's got to wake up and go on Twitter and hear some jokes about how they hope he doesn't miss calc class today. How they hope his mom wrote him a nice note in his lunchbox before he goes to second lunch today.
Not to mention the note that got him out of gym because he didn't want to change in the locker room with everybody else.
All he gets is every day he's got to go online and say, I hope someone reminded what number school bus Bryce has got to get on after class today. Let my man live. Let him focus on football, and maybe you'll give him a chance, all right? All you got short jokes. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. Leave Bryce alone. Leave Bryce alone. Sports Flash. Jerks.
Don't want no short people around here. The Atlanta Braves have lost 4 consecutive games after a 9-4 loss to Cincinnati yesterday. Atlanta's offense did record double-digit hits, but Alan Winans was shelled. I mean, that was bad. For 7 runs in just 2.2 innings of work, including a pair of Reds home runs. Lamar Jackson missed 2 days of training camp and lasted just 1 hour at his first practice. According to reports, Jackson left the field moving slowly, and the team said he was ill. But expect Jackson to recover quickly after the team takes today off. But that's speculation by Rob. We'll see. Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for a brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate and a whole lot of fun. And it's all wire to wire.
Up to the minute update traffic. Still seeing nasty delays northbound I-85 near Highway 101. Got a problem there blocking one lane. Southbound I-85 at Pelham Road. Right lane blocked off. That whole area is backed up. Also an issue, I-85 near Spartanburg Highway. At least one lane blocked there. For the News Talk 98.9 WRD Traffic Center, I'm Lloyd Houston on the Fan Upstate.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid back Sunday afternoon, you wish would never end. Home and just a bluebell, and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
The new Bluebell Cookies and Cream Cheesecake is cheesecake ice cream with chocolate cookie crusted cheesecake pieces and chocolate cream filled cookies. Again,
it was good.
Cheesecake ice cream with
Except
chocolate
for
cookie crusted cheesecake pieces and chocolate cream filled cookies.
Stop it.
Rob, let me
Are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
He can hear me right now, even though he's yeah. I know. What a horrible movie.
Don't miss
I'm
America's
old. I'm a
celebration
grandpa.
sale.
Left
Huge
me out
savings on the best
in the
brands
rain.
now
It was
at Jeff
raining
Lynch
too.
Appliance and
3
TV
hours.
Center.
Didn't come
The
get
lowest prices guaranteed on the
While
best
he just
brands
strolled
of
up there and
Bridgestone
said, "I'm
refrigerators.
Rob Brown."
0%
They
interest
let
for
him in.
24 months on high-definition
Horrible.
TVs. Sealy's tight top or hybrid firm full mattress.
I
Your
know.
choice, only $488.
It
Enjoy
truly
huge
is
savings
bad.
on quality furniture made in America by Smith Brothers. For the very best service, selection, and price, come to Jeff Lynch Appliance and TV Center's America's Celebration Sale.
And it's the
Every
first
business
concert I'd
faces
ever been
challenges,
to
but complicated,
that wasn't a
expensive,
Christian
and
concert.
uncertain
I was
shipping
out of my
shouldn't
element. My
With
friend
USPS grounded
could have helped me.
United States
but he
You're
did
such
not.
a jerk. You're such a jerk.
Oh, I don't have him in queue, so he can't comment. I'm gonna leave him
Oh,
out of queue, so he
sure.
can't comment.
Cost-effective and dependable
You sit there and stew in it, mister.
frequency to success and turn shipping to your advantage. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS
You
Ground
know,
Advantage. Simple, affordable,
I
reliable.
mean, since we have music stations, technically it would be a work function. So yeah, I should contact HR. Maybe I'll do that.
Always go on. That's why he works behind the scenes.
He's shaking his head. All right, hang on.
The HVAC is coming, and his facility shines.
I'm sorry, Rob. Did you have something to say?
Every challenge he
Not
faces,
anymore.
24/7 customer support. His venue never misses
Now
a
I wish I would have been a jerk.
or just stop by. Granger.
You mean intentionally?
Yes.
MGM tonight.
2 years ago, he pretty much individually won me my fantasy baseball league.
This was 2 years ago because last year's
I
team
won one
was
game.
not good.
Yeah, because I couldn't do the draft. I had cousin Joe do the draft. He got drunk instead and became a mess. I couldn't communicate because you and I were doing the show.
The worst part, okay, doing it to me, I kind of get. I probably deserve it. There's some things that I do that you probably don't like. But you did it to Pappy. You did it to Pappy.
Yeah,
also.
well, what I need now, I have to reach out and get Pappy's number because I'm pretty sure I texted Pappy and said, "This is exactly where I am. Come by." He wouldn't have said, "No, my knees hurt. I'm not coming to see you. My knees hurt."
Well, the main reason why I didn't come and see you is because I was pretty upset about what you had done to me, and I didn't want it to lead to
Yes,
anything emotional.
It was my fault.
I didn't want
Lonzo stood
to.
in
I
a
didn't.
line.
You had ruined my evening. I didn't want to ruin yours because you looked like you were having a good time.
I was. You would have too.
Well, I did once I got in there 3 hours later. Except for the guy lighting up a joint next to us and the handicapped people fighting behind me. Other than that, Creed still rocked though.
Creed did rock.
Man, check this out. For an official Rob Brown lockdown.
Yeah.
Keegan wants to know if Phil Brooks is okay.
Manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show. Only.
Away we go, the final hour of the show. And as Lonzo and I are off tomorrow, the final hour of the week on the Rob Brown Show starts right now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, listen, it's my second day off this week. I would complain, but I'm not going to because I'm real happy about it. All right, I just am. It's going to be nice to have some time. especially since Lonzo has been doing his darndest to make me out to be a total jackass today, despite the fact that I've done nothing wrong. It is not my fault that Lonzo had to stand in a line. I had nothing to do with that, all right? Nothing. In fact, I even texted him, go to the gate to the left. It's open, and he just didn't do it.
No. You tell me this after you've already been in there, and I went to the back of the line, which was 3 hours back.
Again, not my fault. I didn't send you there.
Yeah, but
I didn't say, hey, go stand to the back of the line.
One of you guys, one of you dudes, the people you work with, you go, hey, man, I know we're not sitting in the same place. When I get there, let's meet up for a few seconds and go in together so we can hang just a little bit.
You were at the venue,
right? Which means you already knew where I was.
And a half ahead of me.
Which means you already knew where I was.
No, which means I assumed you were in the venue.
You would have had to walk past me to get to where you were going. I
didn't. I came in on the left side of the venue.
Wow. So there's a left side of the venue that you didn't tell me about.
I literally texted it to you. I said, go to the left.
Yeah, after you were already in and I was 3 hours back in the line.
I did.
Listen, it's okay. It's all right. The listeners are on my side. They get it. You need to make it up to me. I don't know how you're going to, but that's fine. Lesson learned from me. And I just won't go to that kind of venue anymore.
Yeah, lesson learned.
I just won't do it.
When you get told. When
I'm asked, hey, you want to go to this rock concert? It's like, no, man, I don't want to get robbed again.
You can't say it that way. That makes it sound way worse than it was. When you get told, go to the gate on the left, and then you're like, no, I'm going to actually go further back in the line that I'm in.
That's not
true. My fault.
You can try to change it. You can try to do. I'm surprised you ain't breaking out some sort of weird analogy that has nothing to do with it to try to get people to look that way when they're looking at you and going, man, I thought you were a better friend than that.
Let's make my day go from bad to worse, shall we? Because waiting to give me an earful, despite only getting one side of the story, because while he was on the phone with Hatin Ass Mario, he turned my microphone off so Mario couldn't hear my protesting in vain. Hatin Ass Mario, a.k.a. Mario Heron, from the BetQL network, the executive producer of Bet for the Cycle, every single weeknight from 7 until 11 p.m. joins us here on the show. And Mario,
you even got the show wrong. See, that's how upset he is. Yeah, he got the show wrong.
Listen, I have been taking crap unnecessarily and unjustifiably for 3 hours and 3 minutes at this point. It's not on me.
Listen, Rob, sometimes I rub off on you. And not all the best parts of me rub off on you. And I think that when I accidentally, go to you, that it was my fault, hands up, my fault. I think that rubbed off on you, and you took that out on Lonzo at the Creed concert. That's just my conspiracy theory. And it's not the nice thing to do. Okay, you left your friend in the rain at a concert that he's only been to Christian concerts, and he's jumping to Creed, and you left him in a line in the rain. I'm surprised he's here today.
He beat me to the venue by an hour and a half. I assumed he was in the venue after an hour and a half. He didn't say he wasn't until I was already in looking for him.
Text say something different. That's fine. Can we get past this? Can we talk about something fun? Can we talk about basketball and leave our tiff, we'll call it that. Just let it go until you get back in studio and I really make you pay.
I will say this. I will say this, Mario. Mac Brown from North Carolina just walked by me, and there's not a dude in America with a better shoe game than Mac Brown, dude. Not a better. My man just came by in the baby blue AF1s underneath his royal blue suit and is pulling it off, bro.
I've said this multiple times, I'll say it again. There's no color that is prettier, cooler, more sick than the Carolina blue. As a North Carolina fan, a little biased there, but my lord, you could put that on the ugliest pig in America, and I'd say that pig looks fresh. I mean, it's the best thing in the world. Mac Brown's a legend. If I was there right now, Rob Brown, and he walked by, I'm not gonna lie, I would give him a hug and maybe a kiss on top of forehead, and go, hey, you're doing great. I love your shoes, and sorry for probably Brett.
That's fair. That's fair. He does. He's got a strong shoe game, and he has for as long as I've known the guy. We're talking to Mario Hatin, a.k.a. Hatin Ass Mario from the BetQL Network. Real quick, Mario, we have got, obviously, we have wrapped up the Olympic basketball warm-up tour. A win over Germany sets us up with a run. We have not gotten to speak since that whatever it was against South Sudan a couple of weeks ago. Turn around, beat Germany 92-88. Not as comfortable as you'd like. Still got a multi-point win over probably the fourth or fifth best team in this tournament. After the warm-up tour, you are more or less confident in Team USA to win a gold medal?
I mean, obviously, I think the easiest thing I have to say is less confident, right? Because they're not dominating these matchups, and that's like what we expect. Like the dream team all the way back in the 90s set a pretty high standard of you don't beat these teams, you roll these teams. Like it's a 50-point blowout. It is a high school team versus a professional team. Well, we're now in 2024, and now the USA team has to face over 60 guys in the NBA across all these international teams. It's going to be harder. And not to mention, the style of basketball has improved when you're playing against teams that have played with each other since they were 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. Like, our guys haven't, and the style of basketball that we grow up in now in AAU is a more one-on-one type of basketball. It's not very team basketball. You go over to Europe or these other countries, it's team basketball. It's off-ball motion. It's getting each other open, not only yourself. And when you play a team that they can close their eyes and tell you where their teammates are going to be, it's going to be hard to win. I don't care how talented you are. It's going to be hard to win. And I think that's what we're seeing now. I am less confident. I still think they do win. I think Kerr's really got to figure out his team. Since Embiid is such a net zero on that floor, and Anthony Davis couldn't be a more positive thing on the floor. Embiid needs to see less minutes. We need to see more AD. We need to see more Bam. I mean, that's just for certain. And also, PSA for Embiid, stop talking. Just, if I'm a PR guy, I'm going, you're not doing any more podcasts or any more interviews, because every time you talk, people hit you more. And you don't say the right thing. So I'm trying to have you shut up for the next 4 months until we get to basketball season, and you can do media day there. I'm less confident, but at the same time, I think we have the best man for the job in handling personalities and handling egos in Steve Kerr. And who's to say that America doesn't take it up a notch? And, you know, KD is expected to be back. I think KD's really going to help this team out.
Yeah, I mean, the guy scored more points than any other American basketball player in history, and I think that kind of opens up what this team can do.
All right, real quick, I still don't believe he's playing. I haven't believed from the beginning he's going to see the court. I think it's a wasted spot. They should have put somebody else in there.
I think he cares too much. I think he cares way too much about the USA, and I think he made too much of a strong pact, I think, with LeBron and Curry, like the older guys, of this is our kind of last go at the Olympics. Let's really set up the next generation of success, and let's go out with the bang. Like, if there wasn't for that, I think grieves me, and I don't think he'd play, but just for the so-called last dance, if you will, with all these older guys at the Olympics, I think he's going to do whatever he can to play.
All right, Mario, you've convinced me. Rob couldn't do that, but you did. Thank you.
Oh, God.
You're welcome. That wouldn't leave you in the rain at a Creed concert. I'd invite you in. I'll give you my ticket, actually.
You're the worst person, Mario. Let's keep going. I want to flip over to NFL camp. I texted you setting this up earlier in the week, and I said I want to kind of briefly touch on camp, and we're just going to jump right in because you said to me that you have a bold prediction about the Carolina Panthers this year. Aside from you might be the only person in America that if Bryce Young stands next to, he would look like the cool one of the duo. What is your bold prediction for the Carolina Panthers?
Yeah, first off, I placed a bet on them, and if I would have saw Bryce Young walking into camp, I think I would have thought twice on placing the bet because he was small. But, hey, what are you going to do? So, listen, I think there's an honest shot at Dave Canales winning Coach of the Year. And right now it's at 20-1 at our good friends at BetMGM. But I really do think like that's a possibility for this team. This is a guy that was the Seahawks quarterback coach when Geno Smith kind of had his comeback year, right? And he looked like he was a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. He revived Baker's career last year, got them to a playoff win. I think the Bucs are really going to miss him coming up this year. And look, it's the worst division in the NFL. I mean, they are absolutely terrible teams in there. I think the Bucs take a step back. You know your Saints very, very well. I think the Saints are about to be the biggest disaster in the NFL this upcoming season. I think Alvin Kamara is going to throw such a little pity party for himself. Derek Carr is going to, have eyeliner all over his face and throw picks everywhere. Dennis Allen's going to get fired halfway through the season, maybe. But there's going to be an absolute disaster. So I look at that division and I go, okay, then there's a shot they could get better. They have the 10th easiest schedule. There's no Thursday night football games. They don't really have any short weeks where you could face, let's say, I'm just saying on top of my head, you face the Bucs on a short week and then you're in like some trouble. You don't have that. So there's no Thursday night football, which is good. Your week 11 bye comes after the Germany game, which is amazing. You had Deontay Johnson, which I know his hands aren't there, but he's still considered one of the best receivers that created separation by a lot of scouts in the NFL. And Xavier Legette was a guy that I really wanted to go to the Chargers. I mean, we knew the Chargers were going to draft a receiver in the second round. They'd be high in the second round. Ryan McConkey's, I think, going to be very good. But I loved Xavier at South Carolina, and I had to listen to Ryan Forbach brag about how good he was all year long. I really like him. I think he do a lot of great things with offense, and with that great offensive mind at head coach, I don't think people should be doubting the Panthers that badly. And, I think the real challenge is what the Falcons will be. I mean, who's to say that Kirk Cousins has one bad game and they have quarterback drama in Atlanta? Quarterback drama usually doesn't pan out to a lot of wins. It just creates more drama in the headline for a pretty dead day on a Tuesday. So I think there's a chance that Panthers could be a little bit surprising. And the flip side of Canales winning Coach of the Year is a little bit better than last year. Is a huge jump. So I think just with all the upside that could be there, I'll go ahead and think that Coach of the Year is not out of the question.
I like that take. I like that take a lot, and I'm going to go one step further. Part of the reason I've got Atlanta winning this division this year, as much as that makes me want to throw up in my mouth, I've got Atlanta winning the division, and a part of the reason why is while I think Dave Canales is going to take this team forward, I locked in a Carolina over win total when it was at 4.5. It's now at 5.5, and I would still take the over on that. And part of that reason is I think they've got Atlanta in the last week of the season. I think Atlanta's going to have wrapped the division up and will rest guys, and that should be a gimme game for Carolina. But part of the reason I have is because I think Dave Canales leaving Tampa hurts Tampa a lot more than anyone else is figuring into the equation. I think Dave Canales and the renaissance he had with Baker Mayfield, they are going to take a step back. And with Todd Bowles, a defensive head coach, and I do not think replacing what they lost when Dave Canales walked away, to me, Dave Canales is the X factor, not just to making Carolina better, but to watching Tampa Bay come back to the pack and basically opening up the door for the Atlanta Falcons this year.
Yeah, I agree. And to your Baker point, how many times have we seen in the NFL a guy that kind of like a bridge quarterback have one really great year and then next year's big regression? How many times have you seen that? Like all the time, right? Like you saw with Geno Smith. You just saw with Daniel Jones, where he had this year where they go to the playoffs and, the Giants re-sign him, they extend him, and he go, all right, maybe, Daniel Jones is a franchise quarterback. And then he goes, hey, guys, I want to remind you, I am not very good. We see that all the time. And that was with the guy that had most of his coaching staff still there. Same thing with Geno Smith. He just lost Dave, headed into that second year at Seattle. I think it's going to happen to Baker as well, which stinks because I do love Baker Mayfield. I root hard for Baker. But regression is coming, and we're going to see the downside of him. And it's going to open the door for Carolina. I think that's going to be really exciting. And I understand your take on Atlanta. Like, I think a lot of people are. Because, like, that roster is extremely talented. It's just, I could just see a drama storm circling them. And any dink in the armor is going to lead to a lot of red flags.
So the reason I'm in on this is you're not talking about the last couple of head coaches that have come through there and it hasn't worked out. I actually like Raheem a lot. I think Raheem Morris is kind of one of those cats that not just a player's coach, but what has been the downfall of Atlanta the last couple of years? It has not been a lack of offensive creativity. It's been the fact that this defense has been bad and will give up 35 points on any given weekend. I know they didn't upgrade the defense as much as Falcons fans would have wanted them to. I think the selection of Michael Penix Jr. completely justified and validated as far as I'm concerned. But if you're going to roll that defense out there and hope that they can bring down the average points per game allowed, Mario, having Raheem Morris as the head coach, as the guy pulling the strings, is probably about as good of a setup as you can get. And now let's go let this offense put some points up on the board. You do that while Tampa takes a step back. I hate how much I have to agree with you that New Orleans is going to be a clown show this year. And while I do think Carolina is very pointed in the right direction, I also think they were a couple of years off from rounding out the roster the way that they need to allow Dave Canales to be the guy. I just don't see who else can win it but Atlanta with Raheem, to be honest.
And to your point, when you look at straight schedule and Sharp Football Analytics, it has Atlanta by a mile having the easiest schedule. So they're going to have some just absolutely layups where they can just scoop up wins. And that offense, if it can get activated, it can be really, really good. I mean, you have Kyle Pitts and Drake London that are just waiting to be honestly just let go and be shine. Like I feel like all of them have just been had a hand tied behind their back and just not really let go and see like their full potential. And if they, you do see their full potential, like what's going to happen and what are they going to look like? Kyle Pitts was supposed to be, in the category of Travis Kelce and George Kittle. And, we haven't really seen that yet. And every year in fantasy, we all fall for the same thing where we go, all right, we got to draft Kyle Pitts, and we saw a tight end for us. And then a lot of times last year, Arthur Smith was like, I forgot that Kyle Pitts was on our team. I thought it was, we had someone else. I don't think that's going to happen this year with Raheem Morris. It's tough. And a side question for you, because I'm curious about the Saints. When do you think the fall apart happens? If you had to give a week, by what week do the Saints fall apart?
Week 14 of last year.
Okay, good answer. Very, very fair point. Yeah,
It makes me sick. Like I just don't know why it is this team decided that they're going to stake their entire fate on a guy who has failed every year of it. It's like, it would be one thing if you could go back and point to a year and go, okay, Dennis Allen's bad, but like in this year he went 13-4 and they made a run, or in this year they snuck into the playoffs and got to a title game. There's nothing. He has like a 30% winning percentage career long, and there's not even that 1 year that you can point at and go, well, this year he did something, and we just think we're going to get back to it. There's nothing to put a pin on with Dennis Allen to lead me to believe that we're not effectively not just hanging it all up on Dennis Allen, but on top of that, we are kicking our inevitable relocation into salary cap hell down the road, so that not only when we finally move on from Dennis Allen will we have to rebuild everything, but we're going to have to rebuild everything while we're doing the NFL equivalent of living in a cardboard box under an overpass because of the financials we put ourselves in.
Like I said, that's not great, Bob. That's what that is right there. And I remember when the Bears were going through that with like Mike Lennon and they got Mitch Trubisky, I remember being kind of in your seat a little bit and just being like, I'm not really excited for the season. I'm just kind of like depressed for it. Like that's a tough one. I think what you need to do is just cheer against them all year and just root for a loss every single time. Like that's what you need to do, or you need to adopt a team. So I would adopt, hop on the, why don't you adopt the Chargers? I think you should adopt the Chargers.
No.
And just go full Harbaugh. I forgot you hate Harbaugh.
I'm team Joe Burrow with the frosted tips, bud. Sorry. I'm just team Joey B from now on. That's it. Hatin Ass Mario, a.k.a. Mario Heron, for the BetQL Network. He is the executive producer of BetMGM Tonight, heard on this fine station and Odyssey stations everywhere from 7 until 11 p.m. My man, appreciate you, big dog. I will talk to you tonight when I'm on your show.
Love you. Always always enjoy coming on. And I would just like to add, as much as I love you, Rob, I want to go to the concert with you. I don't want to be left behind.
You wouldn't be if you showed up where I said to go in the. All right, goodbye, Mario. Goodbye. All right, that's Mario, Hatin Ass Mario from the BackQL Network. We got to run to a break. When we come back, it's Thursday. You know what that means. Fight Club with the great Lonzo coming up next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Buckle up and get ready for a wild ride of sports talk. This is the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
I shall return.
I shall be here. Step it away for just a minute, Stream. We will be right back. Do not go anywhere. Fight Club's next.
So we have forgot to tease that we have a big announcement coming up in just a minute or so. A big announcement. All right, it's a big announcement. At least I think it's a pretty big announcement. But we will be making said announcement. He's all worried because he sees me talking. He's like, "What is he saying?" I'm talking about the big announcement we're about to make in Fight Club in just about a minute.
Fight Club,
which we haven't mentioned all day.
I saved it.
We got a pretty big announcement.
That's how you know I'm a good friend.
And he forgot. That's really.
I did not forget. I was looking at it earlier. I made the appointment on my calendar earlier. So
that's what I should have done. You should have had put in a.
Yeah, if you had access
put it on your calendar.
You had access to my Google Calendar. You control a good portion of my life.
Slide by and pick Lonzo up, so he doesn't have to wait for 3 hours. Man, I would say I'll do that next time, but there's not going to be one because I'm never going back, ever.
My defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat your children. I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
Welcome into the Fight Club, where if you don't know, we've been fighting all day. And here's the thing, when you fight, I mean, you continuously jab wherever you can jab, and that's what I've been doing all day. I might get tired of this by next week. Who knows? One thing I do know is we have a big announcement, Rob, a very big announcement. We have a special guest coming up this Tuesday.
Hey, far too much enthusiasm.
Well, I know. I can't convey. If I go lack of enthusiasm, I'll sound like another show. I don't want to do that. There you go. Orange Cassidy, Tuesday, 8:30
in studio.
That is our first confirmed interview.
Yep.
I gave the person who sets it up about 10 more names, and who knows, maybe we get one or more of those too. We'll see, but we at least know that we have Orange Cassidy confirmed in studio Tuesday. And you know what? AEW Dynamite is Wednesday, so that leaves another day to get some more people in there. Not only that, we could have them all week. We possibly could. Who knows? I talked to Roy, who set things up. He's like, give me a list of names. And Orange Cassidy was on there, and we got him. So I'm very excited about that. Does he stay in characters, though?
You know, so we have talked about this in the past. Lonzo and I, and he and I never talked about this when we started doing the show together and we started booking professional wrestlers. Lonzo and I just kind of stumbled into, we both kind of play this game where we start interviews with pro wrestlers and we don't know if they do them in kayfabe, not in kayfabe, or somewhere in between. And I'm going to say, great one, I honestly think Orange Cassidy might be the most difficult one we've ever done this, right? Like a lot of folks, you usually know within a minute or two, and even when we get the chance, the guys and gals that come on the studio or talk to you on the phone before we start, usually you can get a pretty good read. Like when we had Gunther in studio, he introduced himself to me as Walter, which is his real name, right? Like he introduced himself as his real name. He was very gracious, very kind. And you're like, all right, this dude's just a guy, right? He's just here as a guy. Damian Priest, kind of the same way. Met him in the parking lot to let him in and upstairs. Kind of the same thing. Was just like, just a dude. I'm just a guy here to talk on the radio. And then there are some that are exactly the opposite way. You answer the phone or you meet them, and they are just in character from get one. Lacey Evans is probably
Lacey
the
Evans
best example.
Sure. Yeah,
for sure.
Actually, I think that's the best example. We barely got any words in. She was straight heel the entire time. There was no extra questions. She dogged me big time, which I thought was hilarious. But still, I mean, you probably don't even know the answer to that, do you? No, you don't. And she just kept going. It was like, great. Oh.
So I think of all the interviews that we've done, without knowing if they prefer to do the interview in kayfabe, in character, or as just, a professional wrestler who's there to talk about professional wrestling and hype a show, I think this is going to be genuinely, this might be the most challenging interview ever from that perspective. Because, if he's doing it in kayfabe, obviously Orange Cassidy's had a lot of great storylines over the past 3 or 4 years in AEW we can lean on. And if he's doing it out of character, I have tons of questions about how did this character come to shape, because it is my favorite wrestling character in a very, very long time. And I don't know which one it's going to be, but I'm stupid excited about it because he is one of my favorites. So if you missed it, next Tuesday at 8:30 a.m., the Orange Cassidy will be in studio with us as we get set for a little Wednesday night AEW at the Well.
All right, I don't want to go back to earlier hurt because I would never do such a thing. So I've been told you don't wear a concert T-shirt to a concert. So I'm not gonna talk about that part. But I will say, Rob, you can't wear denim Tuesday. You can't, because that's pandering. That is pandering for sure. Stop it.
You don't tell me what to do. All right. You ain't my supervisor. All right. I'm gonna wear what I want. Second off, I'd be lying to you tell you I already didn't pull the aviators out from where they've been to bring the aviators.
You're not wearing a denim jacket though, are you? Tell me you're not doing that.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
You got a denim jacket from back in the day, and thanks to the good folks at New Life, you're able to now wear it.
Definitely from back in the day, and definitely not one that I wear all the time when it's going outside.
I've never seen you wear a denim jacket.
I don't wear it to the studio because I'd get made fun of for it.
Why? I've got several of those
not
at
you.
home. I don't
not
wear.
You.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you're not worried about me?
No,
obviously, because
you make fun of me all the time anyway. Why would I care about that?
Yeah. You never give me any reason to come at you. I mean,
never.
Yeah. Anyhow, like standing in the rain for 3 hours. Anyway, don't wear denim. I am looking forward to this interview and whatever other interview we get. Thanks to the fine folks at AEW for getting us this interview. We really appreciate it. We're gonna have some fun with it because I don't see how we could not have fun with it. All right. Dom chooses Rhea over Liv. I know we're going to talk AEW. This is, I think, is the only WWE thing that I have. Dom chooses Rhea over Liv. What an idiot. I mean, here's the thing. Unless he's playing the game that we believe he's playing, how could you look at Rhea Ripley and then look at Liv Morgan, especially Friday night, and not go, yeah, I got to go with Liv here. You got to be sadistic into some weird whips, chains, leather type stuff if you're going to pick Rhea Ripley over All-American girl Liv Morgan, who I think the majority I'm going to go with 95% of there was an attractive blonde lady just walked past you just a moment ago.
Like that long, I was like,
no,
her?
No, you did. Yeah, I mean,
say
just for a second.
Liv's name and she appears
right when I was talking about it. I think the majority of our audience would choose Liv any day over Rhea.
So, I have thoughts here. Okay, I have thoughts. Number one, that little twirl she did. Liv knows what she did. Liv knows
exactly.
What she did,
that's my point.
Liv knows what she did. I am still going with Rhea Ripley.
Of course you are. Of course you are. Because you're
going
contrarian.
No,
and you don't want to be like the rest of America.
No. I'll tell you why. Because you give me a girl who's off the map. You give me a girl that's off the radar. You give me a girl who does her own thing. Because here's the thing. We have seen, and for the record, that little spin twirl, I texted my buddy Mark, who lives down in South Florida, because he's a big live guy. And I was like, that's a real good argument. That was my whole text. That's a real good argument. Okay? So, I'm not saying Liv Morgan isn't wildly attractive. She very much is. And I've loved this whole run, which is why even the runaway crying thing, I'm like, it's a work, right? Like there's ulterior motives here, and I can't wait to see what they are. I think we already kind of know, but we'll find out. You give me a Rhea Ripley, and it brings something out of me that I cannot explain. All right, the woman she's perfect. I don't know what you want. All right. Like I'm pretty sure if we ever got the opportunity to have Rhea Ripley in studio, I'd have to say no. I'd just have to say no.
I wouldn't.
I
mean, I'd be like, okay. Now Liv Morgan, that's totally different. I'd probably be nervous because but here's the thing. If you're a Rhea fan, you like being dominated. I mean, whatever your choices are, that's up to you, I'm sure. But I think Liv Morgan is America. And you look at her and go,
I'm not
girl next door vibes with other stuff.
I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that. And if you are into classic Americana, by all means, do your thing. But Rob Brown likes a little metal in his life, all right? He likes a little rock and roll in his life, and that's just Rhea Ripley. Like,
really?
Trust
really?
me,
Do you?
I am not.
Do you?
I am not going to sit here and make the argument to you that you're wrong for going Liv over Rhea. You're not. And I know, as I am with a lot of things in my life, I am in very much the minority in this group. And that's okay with me. But if I'm in Dom's position right now, Rhea's the play every time. 9 out of 9 times.
Yeah, because she beat him up and forced him to join that, made him turn on his dad, made him turn on his family.
His dad's a deadbeat. All right. Raised a deadbeat dad.
Here's the thing: Hall of Famer, one of the most famous wrestlers of all
because
time.
Because he spent so much time focusing on his life is not on his kid.
Listen,
that's why we still make jokes about Dom not being a raised kid.
I completely understand being left behind, but we're not going to go into
You of
that.
all people should understand.
Yeah, I understand.
Deadbeat dad.
Yeah. Okay, deadbeat friend. I mean, it's the same sort of thing, I suppose.
Wow.
I mean, so you know what? All joking aside, there is one thing I believe in. I believe in Joe Hendry, and Joe Hendry next week on NXT is going to do a concert. We're finally getting a concert in NXT. Who's he? Well, obviously he's going after Gallus, so we'll see what he does going after Gallus. By the way, also online, he went after Elias. And I don't know if you've seen that. That was pretty good.
That
really
was fantastic. I took your job. Like, it's so good. Every now and then, I'm gonna tell you this. and I was having this conversation because of something else I'm assuming you're going to bring up here in just a minute with a friend of mine the other day. And
we're out of time. I only have time for one more thing, but go ahead.
It's all, you know what? We I don't care if we go long. It's ACC Media Days. We're allowed to. I have now known who Joe Hendry is for the better part of a month and a half. I have seen him thrown out of a Royal Rumble, and I'm pretty sure that's all the wrestling I've seen out of Joe Hendry at this point, and I still believe in Joe Hendry.
All right, so does, and we got to get to one more after this, but so does Jamal Williams.
Yes, sir.
Running back for I'm talking to Rob Brown, your New Orleans Saints.
Our New Orleans Saints. Jamal believes in Joe Hendry and made sure to point it out on Instagram the other day. And I'm telling you, between Joey B becoming Joey M&M.
He was in full on. He was at practice.
Oh yeah,
when he did it. It wasn't like he was at practice.
No, he was coming onto the field. And if you watch it, put the gear on the ground so that he could clap. It was incredible, as if we needed any reason to love this cat more with his anime visors in camp, and the fact that if you go to a Saints practice and you want an autograph from Jamal, you have to trade him a Pokemon plushie for it. This dude is an icon, as is Joe Hendry.
It is so funny because you learned earlier when you were singing Cody Rhodes' song that there are wrestling fans everywhere, contrary to not popular belief, the belief of the arbiter.
Contrary to unpopular belief.
Who's now in Detroit and hopefully surrounded by wrestling fans, because that's what justice is. Wrestling is everywhere, and it's really cool. One last thing. I don't know if you've seen this before, but this WWE 2K24, have you seen the AJ Hawk's entrance?
I have not.
Oh, you got to look it up.
I have not.
You got to look. Now I want to see Braun Breaker versus AJ Hawk.
Is he a playable character in the game?
They all are.
They all are,
and they're getting some wrestlers are coming at him over it.
Sure.
So even Connor, all his guys are in there, but AJ especially.
This is incredible.
I mean, McAfee was and could be a wrestler again, but so could AJ. Even though he's older, AJ still looks like he's in shape. If you watch the AJ intro, he looks as fast as Braun Breaker.
I just watched it. Incredible. Although somebody responded, we lost the great Khali for this. Spectacular. All right, that's Fight Club. When we come back here in just a minute, we will lay out our plan and schedule for the rest of the day. Lonzo and I off tomorrow. We will return to you coming up on Monday. We got Dabo coming up later today. We've got Kate Klubnik coming up later today. We've got other players and coaches throughout the day. So we'll let you know everything we got going on when we come back, and we will wrap it up. Rob Lonzo and you, The Rob Brown Show, finishes up next on the Fan Upstate.
This is WWE Intercontinental Champion in General Gunther, and you're listening to The Rob Brown Show.
It's a good point, Mac. Except for AJ's never wrestled, so I mean, But we've seen other. There are a lot of football players that get into it, especially now with the NIL deals and everything, getting guys right out of college, coming in and getting in and learning the wrestling game. His entrance, though, I was like, oh, that's good. They made him so fast.
On Wednesday, Spencer Steer drove in 3 runs with 3 hits, all of them extra bases. Ellie De La Cruz also had 3 hits, including a homer.
So gotta go fast and hit the ropes.
They've rescheduled that one for September the 9th. The Braves
that's my game for the rest of the day. It's just how many things can I work into a Cody Rhodes theme song.
New York's won 3 in a row and 7 of 10. The Braves have dropped.
All right, so when Cameron and I were out in the rain, wearing our Smurf blue ponchos, I came up with a parody song. I don't know if I'm doing it this week. You heard the song Ben Caught Stealing? We're going to do Ben Caught Smurfing. Yeah, I'm already working on it. Should be pretty good.
Hi, this is Dr. Elliot Hirschhorn with New Life Weight Loss, and we know the secret to losing weight and getting healthy the natural way without drugs or surgery. At New Life Weight Loss, many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two without
gonna give
no
what they
drugs
came
or
to
surgery, because we
see.
get to the root cause of your weight. Go to mynewlifeweightloss.com now.
Hey, it's Rob Brown. Not only have I had
gotten to buy an all-new
Reach over and grab
wardrobe
Lawton Swan and see if he'll sing it with you.
in my old golf clothes because I've lost 40 pounds. But since I feel better, it is easier to play full rounds of golf.
To
So last
learn
night,
more about our program,
I stopped
go to
on the way back to the hotel because I didn't eat
MyNewLifeWeightLoss.com.
anything. I ate like breakfast yesterday, and then I didn't eat anything until the concert. I wasn't drinking last night. I was just there to hang out. And so I was on the way back to the hotel, and one of the other guys that I've met here at Media Days was like, "Hey, are you in town? We're out at Charlotte Beer Garden, which is like 1 block over from the hotel." And I was like, "Nah, I'm headed back to the hotel to go to bed. I just got done with the Creed show." And he's like, "All right, well, if you change your mind, we're hanging out." And I was like, well, this place has got food and I have eaten. Let me go by and I'll grab a burger. And my man Lawton was there. It's the first time I've ever gotten to talk to him like away from a work function. He's a nice guy, man. He's cool. Not that I didn't already know that, but it was cool to be able to talk to him away from
Way to clarify, because you were heading down a road there that you probably didn't need to go down. I think for the most part, people are cool when you meet. I mean, there are some jerks out there, but I think for the most part, people normally are cool. Do you understand they're cool?
I think this industry, Zoe, in my experience, this industry promotes two types of people to like this sort of environment: either super friendly, extroverted people, or jerks, and that's it, right? Like there's when it comes to the people who cover events like this live, you're either super extroverted and friendly, and they trust you to be able to utilize that to your advantage to get good content, or you're a power player who just forces their way into situations that benefit you.
Yeah, nobody comes to mind when you say that.
I said no names. I insinuated nothing. Whoa!
As far as sports people that I've met in this industry, I would say probably 80% of them are cool.
Yeah,
there are a couple people that are like what you just described.
I think most people are in the first group for sure.
Talk to Robin Lonzo. Call 844-FAN-PHONE. That's 844-FANFONE. This is the award-winning Rob Brown Show. Mornings.
On the Fan Upstate.
All right, rocking and rolling. Final segment of the show. Final segment of the day. Final segment of the week is underway. Lonzo and I off tomorrow. We will be back on Monday, headed down to sunny Florida to kind of do some last of the wedding prep activities before we get it back on the show on Monday. Here's what I have got for you. Coming up today, right after the show's over at 10 o'clock, I'll be speaking with Justin Barron, a defensive back for Syracuse. He is a senior, played alongside our guy Marlo Wax, who we interviewed last year. Marlo was one of my favorite interviews from last year. Remember that one very, very well. So we'll interview his counterpart, Justin Barron from Syracuse, coming up. Kind of interested in the Cuse this year. Obviously, they decided to pull the plug on the Dino era at the conclusion of last year, so they're going in a different direction. Really, as a program, top to bottom, start to finish, they're going somewhere else this year. So I'm intrigued to see what they have to say about Syracuse this year. I will also tell you that our 3 Clemson interviews, we've got Barrett Carter joining us at 1:20. Cade Klubnik will be joining us at 1:28. And then Dabo Sweeney at 1:36. We will speak to those 3 back to back to back. I am going to attempt to go live. I am going to attempt to go live coming up at 1 o'clock at 1:24 for those interviews. I will try to get them put up on the social media channels, facebook.com/thefanupstate and Instagram. I will do my best. I cannot promise it, primarily because I have a different equipment set up today, and I don't know that I'm going to be able to get it worked out to where I can go live. Either way, whether or not I am live at the onset of those interviews, they will be posted to our social media as soon as I can get them there, and then I will be sending that audio over to Diesel and Cole, and I'm assuming that they will run it today on Wire to Wire from 3 to 7 right here on the Fan Upstate. So we got that coming up for you this afternoon, and then as we mentioned, Zoe and I off tomorrow. We will be back coming up on Monday morning. And then we'll run those interviews in reverse for you, as well as give you our thoughts and opinions and breakdowns of our conversation with Barrett, with Cade, and with Dabo Swinney. Again, those interviews are coming up this afternoon. We will have all three of them on, and I will record those, I will pop them on the social media, and then, fingers crossed, I'll be able to go live. If I do not go live, if you do not see us pop up live around 125, then please know that I will send them over to Cole. We'll put them up on social, and we'll play them during Wire to Wire. If you have any questions that you would like me to ask Dabo Swinney, if you have any questions you'd like me to ask Cade Klubnik, shoot them to me on the text line, 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN. I will make a note of them and pick a couple of the favorites that I like to throw at the fellas when we get them on the headset a little bit later on in the morning. Last thing I got. I got to turn in my media votes today. We are picking players of the year, quarterback, coaches, yada, yada, yada. Lonzo, I will give you the opportunity to throw some answers at me here, as well as our listening audience, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. Is there, great one. We have mentioned the teams that we like. Florida State, Clemson is the likely front runners. Miami, SMU as your next in line. I'm putting NC State in that group as well. Is there a surprise team to you this year? Is there a team in the ACC that you think when we get to December 7th might disrupt what we expected coming into this year?
Thank you, by the way, for giving me the opportunity to talk.
Pleasure's mine, bud. Pleasure's mine.
Yeah. So
you waited in line for that.
I did, and finally I'm dry and ready to go. So you're talking about the order, because you have to put the order of how they finish, right?
Give me your finishing order for the ACC.
All right. I'm just going to give you my
top five.
Top four or five. All right. I'm going to go Florida State, SMU, Miami, Clemson.
Okay.
And that's not. And you may say that I'm hating, but if you look at how Clemson has finished the last couple of years, it's pretty much like that. And I don't know that they've done anything, especially on the offensive side, to change my mind yet.
I'll actually defend you on that. I don't have an issue with that pick, and here's why I don't have an issue with the pick. We know Mike Norvell has rebuilt through the portal, and for everybody that goes, well, they lost a lot, how do you know they're going to come back? Guys, we didn't know they were going to do that last year, right? Like, nobody came into last year thinking FSU was going 13-0, winning the conference and going to the playoffs. Oh, wait. Nobody called that shot, right? So the whole concept that, we don't know what Florida State's going to be, but we didn't know last year either, and they ended up making a run at it. As far as SMU goes, we've talked a lot about that team this week because I agree. I think they're a team that could disrupt the chemistry. I like this team a lot. Preston Stone, their quarterback, might end up being the best quarterback in this conference. They've got a ton of reloaded talent at the skill positions left to right. I think that they are going to be good. Miami is, as I've said a number of times, and again, Miami is one of like 3 football teams in America I am openly hostile to. I do not like a hurricane, all right? I can't stand Miami, but on paper, Miami might be the most talented team in the conference. On paper, all right? Cam Ward, again, Preston Stone, Cam Ward, and Grayson McCall, I think, are going to be the best 3 quarterbacks in this game. So on paper, Miami, to me, has everything they need to win the ACC this year. They have all the talent. The only question I have is about Mario Cristobal and the coaching, because I do not believe in Mario Cristobal. I think he's done less with more than maybe any other coach in the last few years. And then Clemson. I don't think that there is a team in the conference that it is more fair to say, I don't know what they're going to be than that team. All right? I'm pulling for Cade Klubnik. We interviewed him from last year. I'm excited to interview him again this year. He's got, as we described it last year, that big golden retriever energy. I love this guy, but we don't know if he's developed this year, and that's been the big question mark, right? Like, has he developed as he's gotten better? So I'm actually, not only am I not going to bag you on the top 4, I'm going to defend. I don't agree with it. It's not my same order, but I'm not going to say you're wrong for it. I'm going FSU 1. I'm going Clemson 2. I'm going to go a surprise NC State 3. I'm going to go Miami 4, SMU 5.
Now, the Brown Show presents
All right, even though he's in Charlotte, Rob still knows what's going on. So I'm going to ask him what the X is going on. The first thing is Xing is Biscuit Basin.
Biscuit Basin. I have no idea what that's about. What I can tell you is, as somebody who's not yet had breakfast, I love a biscuit, and I'll travel out of my way to go get a good light, fluffy, buttery biscuit. Is just an untouchable delicacy. One of the joys of living is a great biscuit.
All right, do you have your phone? Look up Biscuit Basin right now.
Oh God, here we go.
No. This was an explosion from the Orient that burned some people, and Biscuit Basin.
Biscuit Basin. A massive. Oh, okay. I actually knew about the hydrothermal explosion at Yellowstone. I didn't know that it was called Biscuit Basin. It was a hydrothermal eruption at Yellowstone that went off, and it was right next to a walking path. The thing about these geysers at Yellowstone is they are hotter than boiling hot. Right?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're anywhere near them, there's a chance that you could get burned.
Not just burned. These things are, and I mean it, these are skin melting hot, right?
Or you can recreate the original Raiders of the Lost
Correct.
Ark.
They basically tell you, like when you walk down these paths, they're like, do not get off the paths, because if you fall into one of these, there is no helping you. If we give you a rope and you grab it, your skin will come off with the rope. There is no, you are dead on contact. If you are lucky, we may be able to fish a bone or two out to bury, and that's it. So this thing going off so close to a path is
yeah, it looks
not
pretty
good,
rough.
Bob.
All right, the next thing it's Xing is Pat McAfee.
Pat McAfee, do we have another Wyatt Six show up on the show? Because I got to tell you, as somebody who's, though, you and I, we would absolutely do this. As somebody who's allowing that show to bleed over into his network show,
for sure.
Big fan.
I would love something like that.
And by the way, big on Jeff Passan for playing along with it last week, right?
Yeah, good job. I know you've been creating a lot, so
I've been
you missed
creating
a
a
few
lot.
things. He re-signed with Game Day yesterday.
Okay, good.
And said there were a lot of people who didn't want him on it.
There absolutely are.
50% wanted him on, 50% didn't.
Yep.
And he decided that he was having too much fun and he was going to do it.
McAfee's in that short group of and honestly, on a obviously dramatically smaller scale, so am I. There is a list of people that, because their personality is as larger than life as it is, and again, I'm patting myself on the back here, because their personality is larger than life and they don't go the traditional route of a broadcast, they kind of fall into that group of either you go, this dude's awesome, or this dude stinks. And the McAfee hate is no joke, but I'm going to tell you right now, I wouldn't give a damn. Are you kidding me? You're going to pay me to fly around the country and sit in on Saturday College Game Day? You can hate me. I'll wipe my tears with $100 bills.
He also said he's looking forward to hanging with Nick Saban because they have a bond. And there we go.
What a weird dynamic duo.
It's awesome, though. All right, the next thing that's Xing, probably the last thing, is Bryce Young. Not for the reason you think.
It's just a backpack, people.
All right. That's not why.
Okay, why?
And since you're in Charlotte, if he were to walk in the room, you can wish him happy birthday.
Oh, BY. BY turning 22?
23.
23. Good on BY. Good on BY. I hope listen, all I'm hoping is that nobody else blows out the candles on his birthday cake.
Yeah, because it happens when you go to Chuck E. Cheese, and when you're there, you just don't know what's going to happen.
You're rude. You're rude.
Yeah, I'm not rude like
You're
leaving
rude.
a friend in the rain for 3 hours, but I'm a different kind of rude.
I'm not rude like saying go to the left gate, come inside and meet me. I'm waiting on you. I could have done that.
By the way, last thing Xing is Deadpool tonight.
Yeah, I can't see it till next week, and I'm very bummed about that. Very bummed. I may leave the fiance in a hotel room in St. Augustine and go sneak out and see a late showing of it.
There you go.
I'm so excited. Hey, that's it. We are live at ACC Media Days. We will have our interviews with Cade and Dabo for you, pumping up on our social and on Wire to Wire with Cole and Diesel, which airs from 3 to 7 this afternoon. Thank you guys for being here. We've had a blast at ACC Media Days. Lonzo and I off tomorrow. We will return to you on Monday. So have a lovely weekend. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. For Lonzo, I'm Rob. See you back here on Monday's edition of the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate later. Yeah.
Sports talk and real sports fans.
The Fan Upstate
Is the sports voice of you, the Upstate fan. Call 8.
All right, I just want to clarify with the listeners who are still there. I'm only slightly upset about that. just slightly, you know.
All right, I've got to pop off on the fly, guys, because I got to change all my equipment around before we get our first interview here in 4 minutes. So, appreciate you guys being here. Thank you very much. Lonzo, would you like to say goodbye to the people?
No.
Okay, bye.
You have a fun trip to Florida.
I am going to have a very fun